You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, Thursday night live call-in show. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we're live in studio.
We're live right now? Live?
Live in studio.
Not
Can you
recording?
believe it? I actually have people here live, Michael.
Uh-oh.
It is chaos in this room.
We're people.
Kinda crazy.
This is just a person.
I got Wayne crammed up against like 100
Stacks
mats
of boxes
and boxes of board game accessories. The foyer, it looks, I got so much work to do in this room, but I committed to making sure Wayne had the ability to come play today because we got a game of the White Castle.
White Castle. Don't
not,
leave
not just White Castle.
The White Castle.
The White Castle.
Important.
I'm interested to hear how that went.
You will hear.
You will.
I hope so.
You will.
I'm being serious.
Better for some than others.
So,
Yeah.
folks were saying in the Beans and Dice chat that because I didn't like Darwin's Journey, it was likely that I would not like the White Castle. There's a lot of similarities there. The one main similarity that I found in the White Castle and Darwin's Journey is Rob says he likes them, he gets them, but he doesn't score well.
Like first game on each, I didn't. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Oh, that'll change, but yep. First game on each was pretty mediocre.
All right, getting Rob set up over there with a tablet so he can have access to BGG.
Cool.
Yeah, I got it too now, so I can.
Today's topic, before I forget, we are doing a recap of Dice
we were
Tower
still on,
East.
like,
Finishing
still
our
on
recap.
Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still got a ways to go there.
We left off the middle of Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to tell you if any of that changed our ranking board.
I actually listened to that show today, so you still have to finish up Skyrise.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
I
still have
checked.
to finish telling us about the Plum Island game or whatever that was.
Plum Island Horror.
Oh,
The
yeah. that one.
GMT.
Yeah, that's where we ended up. Was I started talking Plum Island Horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
For
you're in the
those
middle.
listening at home,
Skyrise.
I see a big old stack of magnets in front of Carlos. Are
Oh,
all
yeah.
of those new games?
No, those
No,
are
no,
last
that's
year's.
like-
Yeah,
Oh,
we
all
were,
right. I was
we were
about to
coming through
say,
some of
my
last
gosh,
year's.
man.
Some of the games we played at Dice Tower are going to re-show up from last year, so we were pulling
Okay.
some out of the old list.
I was going to say, strap in, folks, because this is going to be one hell of a
It's gonna be a
show if that was
long
all going up
show,
on the board.
Nope, not quite, but not too much shy of that. I know I've got, I think, a 7.
I'm
Wayne was
7.
saying he's got 7 to add. I don't know if Carlos has added them up
No,
yet. But,
not 7.
Yeah, not 7. Okay.
No.
Not the 7.
In the chat, Mr. Jeeves, a.k.a. Kyle, so unprofessional with our 9:02 start time.
Hey, that was for given what you had to set up and figure out the lights and mics and stuff.
And Buffalo Wild Wings, like that was priority.
Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings was priority. Let's get into it. Let's get right in. We'll open up the phone lines at 9:30. That'll be the plan. Let's get into wrapping up quickly. So we're going to go through, let me say this clearly for Robert this time. We're going to talk about every game we played, but you don't have to like go through every game you played. Just like, highlight some, don't highlight others.
He doesn't understand what
He
you're saying.
does. He doesn't get that.
No, I don't understand what you're saying.
He's got to do all or nothing. Like either he doesn't talk about them or he talks about them in their
I'll
entirety.
be brief. 10 minutes later. 1 hour later.
I'm surprised you guys didn't want to start off with the Hasbro hiring the new senior exec for Wizards
for-
of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast?
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Did
just-
not see that.
Well, they got rid of the woman, right? That she.
Right?
She resigned. She,
Yeah, a couple of months
she wanted to
ago.
spend time with family.
Oh, of course you did.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what every
All I know
executive
is
says when they
I
leave.
called that, man. I said she wouldn't last a year, and she didn't.
Nope.
She came in with
So,
that Amazon, Microsoft mentality, and it just didn't. It backfired.
Veteran Blizzard senior exec John Haidt is now the digital gaming president for Wizards of the Coast.
Digital gaming.
Oh, interesting. So is it just the digital gaming portion of his Coast?
That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Um,
So you still got the other sides of it. Interesting.
Yep. But for those that don't know, Blizzard, man, my mind just drew a blank. World of Warcraft. Thank you. That's
Oh,
what they're
yeah, there
most
you go.
known for, I would
Yeah.
think. But also they got, didn't they get picked up by, or am I thinking, I'm thinking Activision. That got picked up by Microsoft.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Interesting. That must. I didn't see
Anywho,
that
let's
today.
get back to DTE, what we all came here for.
There you go.
No, is that what you came? Is that what we came here for? DT.
What's funny is I can't even
That's what
remember
I showed
games
up for.
played on what
I'm going to
day
be pretty
anymore, so
quiet tonight.
I'm going to rely on Rob.
I got the list. I can
you
pull
got
it up.
You got the stats, guys. I don't.
My list, and
You
so
got your diary.
I got my Excel spreadsheet.
So we had talked about Friday morning. We started in the hot games room. This was
Right.
officially my first day of the con because before that was all family time, birthday time. Played some games with the family, but we got in there and did some Skyrise. I think we did talk Skyrise.
we started Skyrise. I don't know if we ever made it all the way through. We started talking
No,
about
you
the
didn't.
mechanics. Yeah, we got a phone call, and then that call was like 45 minutes. I forget who it was, and we never came back to it. I tried to come back to it once, and then we went on to something else. But I don't think we ever completely finished. Yeah, explaining. Mike said he listened to it today. So you, how far did we make it? We were explaining the mechanisms.
We got into the islands, talking about the different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yep. You were talking about, like, you mentioned the numbers on the bottom of the buildings, and then I had mentioned it used to be 1 through 12. And
Yes.
then I think Captain Gamer called in, Pop
Yeah, that
called
was
in
it.
at that time.
Yep, that sounds right.
And then it was diverted from there on.
Yeah, I think my main point on the Skyrise piece is it gets billed as a bidding game. Wayne, did you ever get to play a copy of
I
that?
did not.
It gets billed as a bidding game, but both Dan, myself, and William walked away not feeling that way. I'm not going to speak for Robert.
Yeah, I liked it. Was there was definitely a bidding aspect. I mean, that's I think the main mechanism as far as the gameplay. There is the area control, which I know is what you're getting to that you liked, and the area control is what scores. So the area control is important and it scores, but the main mechanism of the game, how you get area control, how you get stuff on the board, how you decide where you go, is the bidding portion. So I think the bidding, for me at least, feels like it's still the main part of the game, but the area control aspect made it feel really cool. And I think we touched on that it felt a little bit like Ethnos. You got some of that putting stuff around, trying to build up in different areas, trying to outbid each other in different areas. So I definitely like that part of it. I was not expecting that part. I came in knowing it was bidding, and I knew it was area control, but the area control felt cool. So
And one of the aspects that I enjoyed about it is the spatial piece of it, right? So the way the board is done, it's not a checkerboard, it's not a hex board, it's not. It's more organic than that.
Right.
It's not. Geomorphic or
Yeah.
whatever word I'm okay, anyway,
Geometric.
yeah,
there are
you
areas
go.
that you can pin yourselves in, and Robert tells me we played it wrong. We had
Yeah.
a rule we played wrong
Yeah, one rule
with
wrong.
the blimps, which actually opened up the board more. I enjoyed it because the board was more tight, because we could actually get in there and place a bid in a place knowing that the only other places they can go would lead to this peninsula, thus and if we do it in this order, I will be the last bidder. No one else will be able to bid behind me because I pinned us on this peninsula. Right? So you try to set up these traps, and then sometimes you see these combos where, okay, there are these 3 areas that are already trapped. I'm going to go bid in here for $11 or 11 power. No one can outbid me. I immediately win it. Gives me a bonus, and then I get to go again. Here's another area. So there's one time I think I got 3 areas, just control, based on what was left out on the board that others didn't see.
Yeah.
Those moments felt good. So outside of it, it did not feel like a Reiner Knizia, Raw, Medici, like Hollywood bidding game. It didn't feel like that, like an economic bidding game. It really felt more like an area control, exert your power game.
one thing I know that I wasn't a huge fan of, just because we've talked a bunch of positive about it, but one of the things I wasn't a huge fan, it didn't bother me too much, but I know 2 or 3 different people brought it up, that it was something to keep in mind, is that this is definitely a game where usually, especially in a 4-player game, you will have somebody, maybe even 2 people, that will end their game 5-10 minutes before the rest of the game will end. And so everybody's going to place every one of their structures on the board, but you don't have to place them symmetrically. It's not like I win one, you win one, the next person wins one.
Did you hear about my last example? I said I won 3 in a row.
yeah.
That means I placed 3 buildings in a
Right.
row
And,
while others placed none.
That could have been your last 3 buildings.
Right.
So once you run out of buildings, the rest of the people go until everybody's out of buildings. And so at the end of each of the games, somebody had commented on that. Like I know Michelle said in her game, yeah, I finished 10 minutes before everybody else. So I still sat there and had fun watching the other people bid against each other and fill out the board. But the last 10 minutes, I was just waiting to score.
It seems more like, I'm trying to think of the
Tapestry.
Tapestry.
No, Tapestry, but
Yeah.
like there's the old hotel game from like the 80s, 70s even.
Hotel.
It's
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Acquire.
Yes.
Sounds like
stacking.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds like
It
Acquire
feels
a
like
little
it.
bit.
Yeah.
Except for you're not
And that's what it
stacking on
seemed
top.
like when I didn't do the Kickstarter, but when I looked at the Kickstarter, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a take on Acquire.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that straight up bidding like a Knizia bidding game. It is different, but yeah, this is one game I really wanted to try because we talked even before the show about how the production values of games are often masking not good gameplay, or
That's what I thought this was going to be.
and that's why I didn't do the Kickstarter, because I was fearful that the gameplay might not
Yeah.
fulfill the prettiness of it, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like it played pretty well.
It did. Yeah, I think we all liked it for maybe slightly different reasons, but yep, came into it with some different expectations. But we all walked away happy with that one. But
Skyrise, Friday morning.
yep,
Let's see.
keep going with yours. Yeah.
I talked about Pokemon Splendor. We talked about that. We talked about Far Away. Plum Island Horror is the next one.
That one.
So we got into some bigger games at this point. We moved in. We left the. Okay, so apparently Wayne is catching me up on this. This was an issue for the gamers.
Oh, yeah.
People complaining.
It came up. Yeah.
The hot games room was set off on its own, off to the side. Like I've never done the hot games area much.
In a separate room.
It was always in the main area, and
it
was
wasn't at Dice Tower West. That had its own room.
Oh,
Yeah.
did it?
Yeah.
It
So they
wasn't
just
like that at Dice Tower East before. It's always been in the main room,
All right.
Right.
like right next to the library.
Gotcha.
And it was always stacked, always
Always packed.
packed. This time they took it and moved it 100 yards south.
100 feet.
100 yards. A football field? What?
No, 100 feet.
Not
Yeah,
even-
it was maybe
was it-
50 yards. But
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
It wasn't quite 100 feet. It wasn't
Yeah.
quite 100 yards.
Yeah.
It was a distance, but apparently it was a distance for most gamers to say not worth the hike.
or they complain
Or
about
just
it.
I think it was
It
worth
was
the
such a
hike,
long
but,
walk
Yeah,
to
they
the
had
hot
to walk
games
to another
room.
room
Dude,
to
are
go
you 150
play
feet,
hot
dude.
games. So
Yeah.
it came up on some of the
Yeah.
chats. So yeah.
Like multiple, like, after the con, everyone's like, these are the things I liked and didn't like. And that was generally one of the most things I saw complained about was the hot games room was so far away from the main room. I'm like, dude, it was 150 feet. Like it was nothing. Like you walk out of the room, you walk down the hall, and then you make a right, and the room was right there. Like it's like not.
We were done with the hot games room. We grabbed our limbus bread
Yep.
and our axes for our adventure
Adventure
back
for
to the
the
main room.
Yeah.
Did you have to leave breadcrumbs or something? Find your way
lost.
back?
And it was
Might get
really
lost.
good though, because the room was most of the games were busy most of the day, but it wasn't stacked up. You could walk
Yes.
in there multiple at times of the day, and there were more hot games. Like last year, there was maybe 8 tables of hot games in the main room. This time there was 20 tables of hot games. So there
Yeah,
was
it was bigger.
more games
Okay.
to play
And multiples of
and
each.
multiples of each, which made it awesome.
Slay Spire. I took pictures and posted them in the chat.
Yeah, it was great.
It was well done because there were multiples.
Yeah.
It was in a quieter area, so learning and teaching was easier for us.
Yeah.
And there was availability.
Yeah. I disagree with Diego, but he says it was 32 degrees, and it was.
Well,
I was
no,
gonna say
it
it
was
was
damn
freezing
cold.
in
It
there.
was.
The
It
hot
was.
games room.
No, it was not cold.
It was pretty cold.
It was bad.
Especially in the evenings if you were in there.
I guess in the evening it was worse. I got in the
Yeah.
habit of going there right at 8 a.m. when it opened.
Oh, okay.
I was in there with Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The
if
first
you
thing in the
get- if you
morning,
get
we
there-
got a
if you
good
get
game
there
in.
right when it opens. Nobody's there. You can do any game you want. And we racked through like 4 or 5 games in an hour and a half. We did all the light games.
So now we make it back to the main hall, the main big giant room, and we get some bigger games going. I start setting up a table. I think Wayne leaves us at this point.
Hold on, Plum Island, man. What the hell are we doing
That's
here?
where it's
That's
going.
what I said. A
Okay,
table
all
of Plum
Yeah.
Island.
I
This
went
is
to teach. I just
this is
throw
a
in-
great story.
I taught Blood Rage, but
this is a great story.
Okay, I'm ready. Let me get ready here.
Here I am. We're setting up this GMT game, right? It's supposed to be this 3-hour long affair, and we're doing the full rule book. Like Dan is teaching with William. William's never played. He learned the rules. Dan has done solo games of it. Plum Island Horror. It's a cooperative and or solo experience. We talked about how Wayne came over and gave us the history of Plum Island over somewhere in New York. About this is where they tested animals for different illnesses, and so imagine that if an outbreak of some disease happened on that island, the goal is to evacuate all the people on the southern part of the island to the ships, to the helipads. Meanwhile, the infections, which are the horrors they call them, but really kind of like zombies, are coming in almost like in a tower defense from north to south on these different lanes, and your job is to balance killing horrors in order to allow time to move civilians south to then get them on the helicopters and or evacuate them on the boat. So that's the name of the game.
Whoever I have to look up who designed it or how they have to be from like the Long Island, Connecticut area. 'cause
Probably.
that's like all grew up basically off the coast of Long Island is Plum Island, and it's a government facility. No one's allowed to go there, and it's basically run by like the U.S.
that
Agricultural
makes it creepy.
Society. And what it is, all like animal diseases. So like when hoof and mouth and like bird flu and like all the crazy diseases that affect cattle or the livestock of America get tested there. and it's isolated, right? Because it's an island, so nothing gets off, right? So like as
You hope.
yeah,
Yeah.
you hope, right? Yeah. So they bring all the nasty diseases to animal diseases there to research, and like but there was always stories of like, is it really some secret like Area 51 type place? And, like,
Conspiracy
yeah,
started.
all the conspiracy. So if you grew up in
And that's what the whole like theme of the game felt
Yeah,
like. It
so
was like a
it's
bunch of
perfect.
conspiracies, and it was a lot of nonsense, like a lot of funny nonsense.
Right.
You know, a bus of grannies touring the island stops
yeah,
you,
it's
and
not that big of an island.
you know,
but yeah.
you get this many points for saving these grannies, right? Like if you can get them to evacuation. But it's got this whole like Jurassic Park Isla Nublar
Yeah.
thing where there's a storm. This is why the military can't come save you, because there's a storm, right? Nobody can come to the island. So all you can do is try to prepare for 3 days until the main evacuation. You got to survive 3 days and have everyone ready to evacuate that are of equal evaluation of up to a certain number. It's like not everyone's equal, right? When it comes to the evaluation. What was great was the first kill happened at like 7 a.m. because there's like this clock, like morning, afternoon, evening for each day. So it was like morning of the first day. The first kill was at a bar, and the people that died were a crew of pool maintenance people. So like we tried to theme that out. Like, so it's like Friday in the morning. The guys are about to go to work, so they hit the bar.
The bar first.
Sounds
huh?
about
Sounds like
right.
New York.
Yeah,
Before you go
that's-
jump in the pool cleaning duty. Yeah.
They're
But while
there
we're
from the
setting
night
up
prior.
we're setting up this 3-hour long game. We're prepared to get stuck in, right? This GMT war game. We're prepared. Rob is over here setting up a nice, fast, quick game of
Quick game of Blood Rage. Yeah.
right, which is supposed not long, not
Shouldn't
supposed.
be.
And I think we ended right about the same time.
Yeah, it was a good 3-hour game of Blood Rage. Should be about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but yeah, that was a separate thing. So I don't want to poo-poo anything. We don't want to kill any listeners, but we ran into a nice couple there that right after I
They ran into you.
Well, yeah, they ran into us, yeah. So I had just taught Nathan and Kristen wanted to learn Blood Rage. So I had just kind of run through all the rules, was just at the very end of the rules teach, and we were getting ready to jump into it, and then this gentleman and his either girlfriend or wife come by, and they're like, hey, can we play? I really like Blood Rage. And so I kind of looked at him for a second. I was like, well, I just finished the teach. I'm teaching 2 new players here. I just ran through the whole teach. And he's like, oh, I know how to play. I played several times. And he goes, but she hasn't, but we can run her through the rules real fast. And so I kind of looked over at Nathan and Kristen, and I was like, do you guys mind? And I got kind of blank stares, so I knew the answer was probably yes. We'd really rather just play. But Rob being Rob, I was like, yeah, come on in. Yeah, we'll teach her real quick, on the fly. It became pretty obvious as I was running through the rules again and trying to teach her that he either had not played in a long time or that he maybe had never played. And so I think he had played before because he knew all the basics, but any of the particulars, we were basically reteaching him as well. And then as soon as we started playing pretty early on, we discovered that he was quite AP. And I don't know if I've ever seen anybody be super AP in Blood Rage, but those drafts of those cards took forever. And so, this game that should have been an hour ended up lasting about 3 hours. And so it was an experience. So
There were moments where Kristen was hanging out because we were across from each other. We were like
we're on
one
the next
table apart.
over, yeah.
Because there were moments I looked over and she looked like she was going to die.
Yeah, she was a lot of eye rolling, a lot of actually the last hour she started dropping some heavy hints that she's like, you know what, I'm hungry. We need to finish this. I need to go eat. We need to do some things. And so the other couple finally got the picture with about 30-45 minutes left, and they were like, okay. He's kind of started making quicker decisions and doing things a little faster, but you could tell he was a little uncomfortable with it. And then the end experience, the cleanup experience, was a little awkward, so nobody said anything through the whole cleanup. It was like by just scraping things quietly, and so
Carlos the boxing go.
Well, yeah, hopefully we didn't offend anybody too much. But anyway,
But it was funny. Like, we ended our giant GMT game like right around the same time he ended what I thought would be like an hour-long Blood Rage game.
And I think while you guys played those 2 games, my wife and kid joined me, and we ended up cranking through like 7 or 8 different like midweight games. Yeah,
I don't doubt it.
I think we did. We did Reef and Wavelength. Played, I think, 2 of the kids' table board games, maybe Power Plants and Fossilis, Galaxy Trucker, and then something else. So we cranked through a bunch of games in that 2 or 3 hour period.
Nice.
So what did you think of the game, Carlos?
It was definitely a tower defense. the designer has designed similar titles to it, but set in a war game setting, right? So it different setting. This setting, I think he got to let loose with the craziness, right? And GMT games are known for tables, but there was so much like randomness for rando's sake.
This was like, it reminded me of the Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, like there was just straight silliness.
Yeah.
Like okay, so this guy Bob, the conspiracy theorist, is worth 2 victory points if you evacuate him, and he runs around talking about Sasquatch. However, if Sasquatch ends up showing up, he was right. Now he's worth 5 victory points. You see those kinds of swings.
Some randomness.
All right. Yeah.
Sasquatch ended up showing up, so the guy was worth more points to evacuate him, because this is the kind of person you want to evacuate
he'd be
for
on
the.
Plum Island,
He would
Sasquatch,
know about Sasquatch and that kind of a randomness. Like people's points varied so much, you really couldn't plan. Like I wouldn't say gameplay, but it's more about the story. We had fun.
Like you had fun.
We had fun.
That was my next question. Did you enjoy it though, even though it was kind of crazy?
That wasn't a quick yes.
It is not a quick yes.
Would you play it again?
Probably not. Like the length of the game is like, okay, so Zombicide, fun, crazy, hour and a half, right? I'm cool. Crazy, I'm cool. Hour and a half, 3 hours though. That's a lot of
yeah.
For a theme that really doesn't suck me in as much. Like it didn't.
I feel you.
Okay.
But William and Dan both own it. They will probably tell you different things. I'm not buying it. Let me give you that. I'll give you the beans and dice on that one. You're probably not going to see it up on my board. You're probably not going to see the board at all. We only got one camera today.
Oh.
So we're going to have to move this board.
Move the board over there. We'll hold it up while we post stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Shortly after that was I think we got together for Thunder Road Vendetta. That was what's next on my list. Did we do anything between then?
No. We grabbed some snackage. I think you and I ran up to my room. We grabbed some snackage and then headed straight back down for some Thunder Road Vendetta. I think Dan brought his copy and taught it.
Yep. It was I know mine and your first play ever. Wayne did not play with us, but he's played before, right?
I played before, yeah.
Okay, and I know, Mike, you've played, right?
I'm sorry, I was reading
Thunder Road
James
Vendetta?
Odak's comment. He was asking if the pool cleaners were Italian.
Okay.
I'd like a reservation for 6.
What game were you talking about? I'm sorry.
Thunder Road Vendetta. You've played that?
I've played it twice.
Twice. Okay. It was Carlos and I's first.
We played with Dan. We played with William.
Yep.
And actually William of Nerdy Weds.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds like a fun group to play it with.
The game is awesome, but group dependent.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to...
2 times I played it, I was not overly thrilled with it. But I do want to try it again with the right group.
But you get the sense, Mike, if it was the 4 of us playing, that's going to be a hoot.
I think I would enjoy it more. Yes.
Yeah.
We are just going to be chaos, and I'm coming for you, and my helicopter's going right up Carlos's rear, and
Rear
this guy's
end.
going here. Yeah.
I liked it. It did not blow me away. Again,
Right.
I guess, there's a lot of randomness. It's a lot of just fun, and,
It's not a thinking man's game.
You're not trying to win it. You're just trying to cause chaos. I had trouble just even causing chaos. I mean, I saw other people hitting people and slinging people off in different directions. I'd hit somebody and it'd be like, oh, we just switched places. Oh, okay. I was expecting stuff to happen.
The car insurance guy's like, let's be safe, guys.
Exactly. So I don't know. It wasn't as crazy as I was.
I got a
$500
deductible.
I'm not hitting that.
See, but you got to decide what you hit. Like it's all about what you hit, because in the game there is there is statistical probability. So as an example, there's the smash die, I think it is. Slam die.
Slam dice. Yeah, there you go.
The slam dice dictates which vehicle is going to move in an impact. So whenever you run into something, you will place your miniature on top of the other vehicle. Right? Then the slam die comes into place. 4 sides say that the bottom car is going to move versus the top car. Right? And then the number of movement. And then if you have a larger vehicle in that fight, you decide if you want to re-roll the result. So very much reminds me of Blood Bowl. Like this game, if you like Blood Bowl, you're going to love this game. Like there's so much that reminds you, and I think that's why Nick Oben had a good time. We'll say that.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure you're hitting cars that are smaller than you so you can dictate the re-roll. And then if you really want chaos, hit a motorcycle. Like those things, those were pinballs.
Wiping those things out. Yeah.
It sucks because the game is retail, right? But it only comes with the basic cars for the retail.
You really got to
The-
get all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
William was driving the truck, this big semi truck thing,
Oh, really?
right?
Oh, that big thing. Yeah.
Dan was driving the motorcycles, and they act so different and change how the game plays.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was so much fun to watch that it was definitely missed in my play. Subsequent, when I got home, I got my copy of the retail. All that was missing from the basic edition.
Mm-hmm.
So the two plays that I had at Dice Tower with all those extra vehicles and all the chaos really sold the game. The retail makes it okayer. Okayer.
Yeah. Yeah, just a lot of randomness. I did target the motorcycles. I hit at least 4 motorcycles. See, every time I hit one, though, it bumped them to an empty space. I was like, oh. So I just didn't get lucky on the rolls that I wasn't pinballing them off of stuff and knocking them off the map.
You got to time it to where they're right next to a wall, or if
Or
you pin
yes.
then they
Yeah.
point, or get them into it.
Yeah, one time I had him on the edge of the map, and it's just like, oh, he went back a space. I was like, oh, couldn't knock him off.
It's a fun game.
Anyway, yeah.
But that's a late night game, or had a couple beers and you want to just
Beer and pretzel.
beer and pretzel game.
For sure. Yeah. Lots of fun.
Thunder Road Vendetta.
All right,
Yeah.
next.
And that was it for my Friday. What do you guys have left for your Friday?
What else do we have?
The only other thing I played was Too Many Bones. I finally got a game of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a game I've wanted to play for a long time. Nick,
This is your first time playing?
first time I played. Yeah.
Oh, tell me what
Nico-
you think, man.
Nick Oben, who is all in, he owns everything. I was just telling the guys before the show. He showed me his all in that he
with
got
the chest.
with
and-
everything, the chest. He was telling me how much he spent on it, which dwarfed the rest of
it's
the games in his collection. It was
stupid
sick.
money, man.
Exactly. It is. It was crazy. But so he showed me all the stuff, and he had.
Here's a whiteboard. Write it down.
Oh yeah,
I want to
yeah,
know.
the list now, or the amount. I'll secretly pass it to you. But yeah, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. A game I've heard about for years. The game that people make fun of all the time because of.
Wow, Wayne just hand signed it to me.
Oh, you didn't hear me say it?
Holy crap!
Yeah, if you went
Dude,
all
my
in
first
on the-
car didn't cost that.
if you went all in on the last Kickstarter, it was I think it was over $1,000.
It was over $1,000.
Dude, I didn't spend that on my first car.
Yep.
Well, let's not talk about that, man. We're talking board games here.
Yeah, Nick was talking bad decisions. He's like, all these
1985 Mazda RX-7 GSL, baby.
games-
Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Little Puerto Rican flag hanging from the mirror.
Nick was showing us all the games that he's got, like the big box of Everdell and the big box of this and the big box of that. He's like, this game puts all that other stuff to shame.
Oh,
So
yeah, it does.
yeah. Anyway,
How many plays has he gotten?
this was his first play ever. So
Oh,
he learned
so
it. Yeah, he's
love
owned it
it.
for he's owned
That's
it for a
the way
couple
to do
years,
it.
and this was his first play at Dice Tower.
$500 an hour.
We joked around at Dice Tower about, or not at Dice Tower. We joked around because we played Frosthaven last night, and Nick was when we were talking about it in the chat, setting up the day and the time earlier in the week. Nick was like, "Or we could get in a game of Too Many Bones." So we were
money's word.
exactly we were joking around about that it might could replace some of our from our Frosthaven nights, but it was good. I liked it a lot. It's a little dungeon crawl. You've played it, Mike? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Dan
you-
was the one that introduced me to it.
I was gonna say you and Dan played it. Okay, so
Yeah.
how many times have you played it?
Just
a couple?
I think 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Like
So-
total. I mean, I have a lot. I don't have everything for it. I do have a lot. I've kind of collected over the years
yeah.
since Dan introduced me to it.
Yep.
It's one of those games. It's just because each character plays very different.
Yep.
The rules have never been printed correctly 100%. They've
Oh,
always
that would-
done,
oh,
like,
God, no.
revisions of the rules.
Wow.
And I think even with the latest Kickstarter, there were still, I mean, they did come out with new expansions and such, but there are still errors throughout.
How?
I mean, that's just how it is. You kind of
An overly
accept it.
complicated bloat of Kickstarter.
So for me, it's very hard to get to the table because it can end up being a lot of page hunting if you're not familiar with everything. I think once you have it down, it's very much more straightforward and just the characters, just learning what the dice do. But each
Yeah.
character has their own sheet. But
Right.
anyway, go ahead, Rob. I want to hear more about.
Yeah, and so I mean, they definitely do walk you through it. So, and I guess I've heard that the scenarios are there's different scenarios. So you're playing little stories, and they're basically one-offs. Even though I guess there is a campaign now. Nick was showing us the campaign box he's got. He's like, so got all those other things. Now here's the little expansion that's the campaign. You can string them together. But anyway, they're usually one shots. They're usually, I guess, it took us about 3 hours, and we didn't finish. We played 6 of the 8 stories in our little campaign, but we were learning it. None of us had played it before.
Oh, y'all tried to do a campaign?
Well, I say campaign, not
Just
a campaign.
one of the
storyline. Story arc.
Yeah.
One little
That's
story
one
arc.
scenario.
Yeah, one scenario.
is like 8,
3 hours.
It's about 3 hours per scenario.
maybe 3 to 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's it. It's a one-off. So, I mean, unless you play the campaign that was an expansion that comes out that strings them together,
And I like how
that's it.
Nick's setting up the game. He's like, I'm gonna set up like intro, basic boss, and then at the end they're like, oops. We set it to epic.
Well, you can
death
play
mode.
on 4 different levels, and he actually set it up for the epic level of difficulty without realizing that there were scalable
Amazing.
difficulties. So yeah, we played it. So we got 6 of the 8 story cards or whatever done, and we were like, all right, we're pretty much done with this. We're at 3 hours. There's no way we're ever going to beat this boss. And then Nick, as we're putting it away, Nick's flipping back through the thing. It's like, oh, you can scale this thing for difficulty. So we were playing all out, So
But it's cool because you can pick your own baddie, and
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
lots of different scenarios for it. So
What's the combat mechanism for it, Mike?
Oh, dude, the dice chucking is like, I mean, it's too many bones. You're rolling the bones, basically. And when you do misses, you can build up your bones and then use those later on. But each character, there's like multiple paths that you can take to upgrade the character's weapons and their abilities.
Carlos would really like this. So let me just touch on that real quick. So now
Yeah, please
catch you
go.
off here, but-
You tell the story. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just wanted because Carlos would like this part because he likes you like the dungeon crawler that's one shot.
Yep.
And you level up 15 times in 1 hour. What was that? one?
Massive Darkness,
Massive
second
Darkness.
edition.
There you go.
Yep.
That's kind of what this is. So you're playing 3 hours, but you're going from a neophyte
Zero to a
stumbling-
hero?
yeah, 0 to a hero in 3 hours. And so, as Mike was saying, you got these different paths, and you pick these different paths. So every time you do a scenario, and I should say scenarios, so there's 2 different types of scenarios. You're
Like the
drawing
days, right?
Right, you're playing through a deck of cards, and they're days, and so like the one we were playing is 8 days, so it's 8 cards in the deck. Each card is a thing, but you flip the cards. Some of the cards are going to be a battle, and so you flip it, and it tells you how to set up the battle. We'll talk about that briefly in a minute. We don't want to spend an hour on this, but some of them are just story. You just read it, and it's a
Next
it's a
week,
story.
we'll do Saturday's plays.
Exactly. Some of them though, you just flip it. It's a story, and it's just a choice. You did this. You're in the forest. You get lost. You find a tree with berries. Do you eat the berries or don't eat the berries? You eat the berries, okay. It takes you off to another land, and you're off somewhere else. Or you you find a box. Do you open it up? Yes, you opened it. Here's the treasures you got. You left it alone. Go see the merchant or something. And so some of them are just choices, and what you choose will get you something or not get you something. And then you just move on. You move on to the next thing. You flip the next one. Every story element, either whether it's just story or whether it's a battle, you will level up. So you then get to spend points on either increasing stats. You can increase your attack, your defense. There's 2 others. I don't remember them all, the action points or something, and then 1 other. Or you can choose dice to take out of the tray. You've got this tray full of dice, and you've got these different...
There's 12, I think, for each character.
12 for each character.
Is
Okay.
it 12 or whatever it is? 16
12
or 12. I can't-
attributes?
No. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
wouldn't
that
say
they're
they're attributes, but yeah.
Yeah, or some of them are just paths. Like some of them are an ability. An ability has it's a different kind of die each time I level it up, and I get to add another die to it. And the die have all different sides, and so you've got this player aid that's a big sheet of paper, but because it explains all the different sides of all the different die. And so as you're playing, you can pluck out these die and roll them for action points. And some of them heal, some of them improve your defense, some of them give you special attacks. Some of, like Mike says, some of these when you're rolling for like attacks and stuff, if you do misses, those become bones that you can place in kind of this, I'll just call it a boneyard. But you start adding those up, and then you can start your individual player mats, because neoprene mats, this game is all neoprene mats. You're plugging dice into little things on thick neoprene mats. But each of the different characters have a list of different like special attacks or special defenses they can do. And so if I've got a bunch of misses, I can get to like this level on the mat, and then I can pluck those 3 dice off, and maybe it allows me to re-roll all my attack die in an attack. And so your misses suck, but then you can build them
power
up
up later
and
on.
you can go up to
Right.
certain levels, and I can wait until I get 8 and I can do this real. It's not 8, it's probably 6. I forget how many it holds, but however, if I max it out, I can do this really cool thing, or I can just keep plucking them off here and there, 1 or 2 at a time, and kind of doing a little extra, maybe an extra roll, re-roll a die or something like that. And so there's a lot of little choices. We're not even touching the surface of all the little intricate little paths, but go ahead,
but
Mike.
the dice that you choose for your character, you're never going to get them all in one game.
Oh, no.
So every
gotta
time
pick
you replay that character, you can always choose different upgrades for your
different
character.
paths. Yeah.
Different paths. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, you have to get this die before you can get this die, on the upgrade path. So you're almost choosing, not necessarily from the get-go, but you're like, okay, well, I really want to get this level 4 die because it's going to be ridiculous powerful, but I got to go through these other 3, or you got to get this one combined with that one. And just it's very thematic, but just the crazy crap that will, when you read about the description on the die, and there's like this one character that's like this little tiny kid, and the more he gets hit, the more pissed off he gets, and if you get him really pissed off, then he goes berserk on these other.
Nick played
goes
that.
Ralphie
That
on
was,
him.
that was the berserker. Yeah, Nick was playing
Yeah,
that.
the berserk.
And William was playing the demolition expert, so he had these 4 die that represented these 4 different elements that he had to put together. And so as a turn, he would roll them to see if he could get the elements, and then he could slot them in. But then he had to get like 1 of each type to build the grenade, to then be able to chuck the grenade into combat, in a future
And you're
round.
feeling this. You're playing this. So
Yeah.
you feel this.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was really
They did a
cool.
good job.
Yeah. And there's a whole, without getting it out, you get loot at the end, and then you get locked treasures. You can get locked treasure boxes. There's a whole lock picking mechanism that in between rounds, you then can take a crack at either breaking your lock or one of somebody else's, and you have to roll certain die in certain combinations to be able to break the next level of the lock.
Oh, dude, it's so cool.
But if you open those up, there's like epic loot in there, and you get like really cool stuff. And so there was like a
Here's
machine
the
gun.
other thing, just overall about the game. From the very first game and every single expansion every major expansion that's come out for it, there's a hidden thing in every single manual, and if you figure it out, it will lead you to things, and then you contact the company with the answer. Like, it's a riddle that goes on and on and on. If you contact them, they will send you special cards that you can only get from cracking the code in the manual.
I didn't know that.
It's
That's
really
cool.
cool. So, I mean, it like goes on and on. But anyway, I mean, the Chip Theory games, it's the typical quality that you expect from them. All their cards are PVC.
Yep.
So you can literally play them in a pool if you wanted to. Not that you should.
Yeah, that's the joke. So you can play any of their games in the swimming pool.
What was that channel? Above Board Games.
Yeah.
They played it underwater with sharks.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But anyway, yeah, that's so cool that you finally got to play. Though.
It's really good. Yeah, we're talking about intermixing it in between games of Frosthaven now. So it's
awesome!
It's
2
really
campaigns at once.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Or 3 or 4 or 5.
The Eurogamer.
Yeah, the Eurogamer. Who doesn't like theme?
No theme, no story. Yep, that's it. But yeah, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to, and definitely looking forward to playing more of it. So I'm glad that Nick owns the we won't say how much expensive version of it.
We'll let you look up the Kickstarter history for
exactly.
yourself.
Anyway, but that was my Friday. Anything else there, Wayne?
Just a lot of little games. I think Friday I played Trio, which is a popular game now. It was good. Super Kawaii Pets, which is fun.
I think I heard of it.
Yeah, it just came out, and Diego and his wife
Rachel.
Thank you. My brain was for a second. She had a copy, so we played it, and it's kind of fun. It's like really cute, right? It's Kawaii Pets is like the thing. On one side of the card, you've got kind of the pet's angry, right, and then you've got like they want food, or they want shelter, or they want whatever. And if you get the right combination of cards, you can flip them over and they become happy, and they got a little happy face.
A little Tamagotchi.
Yeah. And first, when it gets certain amount of cards played, you score victory points based on that. And if you have like 3, there's cats and dogs and like exotic animals. And as you make them happy, you can collect like where they live, and that's extra victory points. So it's a very simple, fun card game. We played it that night, and then the next day I showed it to my wife and kid, and we went actually over to the Arcane Wonders booth, and they actually had a demo area set up with like comfortable couches And they
I saw that. It looked like a living room.
yeah, it looked like a living room, and they were demoing the game, and on the TV they had like all these funny cat and dog and animal videos playing.
I was wondering what was going on over
yeah,
there.
So they would demo it. So we demoed the game there, and my wife was like, "Yep, we got to buy this game because like my kid loved it, and my niece will love it, and my sister-in-law's a dog groomer, so she's gonna love it. So it's a fun little game that we know we're gonna play as a family. Thanksgiving that'll get played a ton.
Nice.
And then Happy Little Dinosaurs.
Okay.
Is another one that I played with Diego, I think, and the crew there. And it was interesting. It's like you're like the impending doom is coming. Like either it's a meteorite or whatever, and you're trying to kill all the other dinosaurs and be the last one kind of standing. That was fun. It was kind of like I think it's from the same people that did like Exploding Kittens or like the trolley thing or whatever. It's like Cyanide and Happiness, I think, kind of artwork. It was fun. Yeah, and there was a couple of the small games here and there. So that was a Harvest. I taught everybody and his mother Harvest at the Dice Tower. So
Yeah, that's a good one.
I played that several times on Saturday, yeah.
And things like that. So that was the rest of my Friday. And then was Friday night the Magic Show?
Yes.
Yeah, so we went
I
to
think so.
Joey
That sounds
Evans'
right.
Magic Show. And that was fun. He was really good. He was entertaining. Learned that apparently he wrote for The Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me. Yeah.
So it's kinda
that's cool.
Yeah. I think that was like his, like where he made his money, I think, was he was a writer for The Tonight Show. Or something
wow.
like that. Yeah. So that's
maybe
it
a
sort of makes
column.
sense with his sense of humor. It kind of fits
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I can see where that skit, because he did the whole thing of like road signs with like that don't make any sense from around his travels, and like oh, that's very Tonight Showy. It's good. So it was very entertaining. It was very funny. He was very, very gracious.
Top 10.
Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, it was good. That was the rest of Friday. Then Saturday, we go to Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday morning.
Yep.
We're back in the hot games room early.
Yeah, hot games room. Yeah, let's go to Japan.
Let's go to
was-
Japan. Love
Was that the first game we got in?
That was
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Did you play something earlier? But yeah, that was
No,
my
no,
first game
that
morning.
was it.
That was it. We went right to that.
Yeah, actually, Wayne taught.
I taught it.
That's right.
learned it, taught
Wayne,
it.
myself, and Rob were setting up.
Yeah.
Sheldon kind of meanders in.
And
Yeah.
we grabbed Sheldon. Yeah.
Yeah, we scooped Sheldon up and we started getting some games in.
Love that game, man.
Let's go to Japan. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's an itinerary building game.
Yeah.
You're making your itinerary for your trip to Japan.
Yeah.
You've got 6 days that you need to plan for this trip.
3 activities on each day.
Yeah, 3 activities on each day. There are 2 locations that we're going between Tokyo and Kyoto.
Right.
And you're going to be drawing cards and then drafting cards.
Right.
Oh, that's the fun part. Is the drafting in this game really reminds me of the comic book game.
Comic Hunters.
Comic Hunters.
Like games with it.
Because every round there's like a different way to
that you
draft this thing.
Yep.
Very, very different ways to draft. And you're trying to draft cards in order to then decide which ones to play to build out your itinerary. You want your itinerary to match not only the location you're in, because you don't want to have to travel in between. Every time you got to ride the train, it's like negative happy points. You get negative happy points, you lose points. So you want to try to plan this out so you're doing all your activities in the same
Yeah,
location.
you got to balance. There's you go on a trip and you have a really good day, right? So you have happiness, and then you have really the day you want to strangle your kid and curse.
There's
curse
stressful events.
Stressful. So there's certain events are stressful, certain events are happy, and then there's like certain events that cost a lot of money, and that like as the dads in the group, like, God, how much should we spend on that? Really?
Because that causes stress.
Causes stress, or like, hey, we didn't spend a lot of money and did this like cool thing that so like there's that. And then each of the 6 days has a different flavor to it. It's like one of the days is the day you go shopping. One of the days is the days you're trying to go to like the museums or the
There are
like
different aspects
food,
or tags that you're
yeah,
trying
like
to
a
get for each day.
food day,
Experiences, shopping experiences, traditional experiences,
non-traditional, or like the
modern,
and so like
social events.
So and that's variable. What happens on what day varies, and if you can synergize the tags, because basically what it is also it's a lot of like
tag matches.
yeah, it's like terraforming Mars or not the Mosaic, where you're looking for tags and you're looking to match tags, and if you match all the tags on the day, you'll get bigger bumps on the tracks, and as you bump up the tracks, you score more victory points.
But even more than that, each card at the bottom has an objective based on most of the time the objectives are based on tags. So if at the time of your trip
On that day
when you actually execute, because right now the first stage of the game is all planning it out.
plan the whole thing out.
Once all 6 days have 3 events on them, sometimes more, that's when you execute your trip. And as you execute your trip, you're going to look at the end of each day what objective you decided to place as the last, or whatever card you place as the last card of the day will have an objective. If you meet that objective, you get stuff, which can include more tags.
Points or
Yeah.
tags.
Right, so that you
or-
can use those tags for the next day
And it
to meet the
builds
next
up,
day's
so,
requirements.
So you start on Sunday, you just have Sunday's tags, so you hopefully fulfill the objective. But then on Monday, you've got Mondays and Sundays tags to fulfill the objective, and you keep building, and so you can build that up all week long. I love that. Like, I love the idea that you plan out the whole thing and then fire
Galaxy
it.
Trucker like.
It is kind of Galaxy Trucker like, yeah.
On top of that, when you so you got half the deck is Tokyo cards, which are pink, and then half the deck is Kyoto, which is blue. I think I got those right.
Yeah.
If you as you do your not even your days, as you're planning out your week, every time you make a change from blue to pink or pink to blue cards, you have these little train cards that you are train tokens that you have to put on there so that you're taking the train in between. If you don't have enough train tokens at the end to accommodate all of your changes from pink to blue or blue to pink, you lose 2 points for every.
Because you had to
one
take
you did.
public
Yeah,
transportation.
so it is like
Yeah.
so
Theme, yeah.
basically you have to take the Shinkansen, the bullet train between Kyoto and Tokyo, and if you synergize on a day as part of the bonus, you can take a 2-point luxury ticket for the train, and what that is saying is you paid for the there's paid seats on the Shinkansen where I'm going to pay to sit in like the blue car. It's a nice car. It has better seats, bigger seats, has Wi-Fi, has plugs, everything. Or you can just pay to go on the Shinkansen and you just get whatever seats available.
I'll be in the steerage.
There's even like because we did both when we were there, and even the non nice ones, I wouldn't take 2 negative points in real life because they were still comfortable,
Still nice.
still really nice. It was just so. You could, if you synergize well, you get those bonus points. If not, then you take the regular, and the stress of just having to find a seat and fighting for a spot on the train. But it really thematic. And
The theme, I was going to say the theme is shining through this
Yeah, it
one.
really carries it.
And I'll say that we talked about this. I loved this game. Like, I'm gonna buy it. I'm just debating whether I want to spend the $100 on the super deluxe version
yeah.
or like the $40 on the
Nice
retail version.
chunky tokens versus
Yeah,
cardboard
the
and
big
yeah.
light and all that stuff. But having literally just come from spending 2 weeks in Japan, perfect. Like,
Yeah.
just everything about that game just sings to the trip that we had and the idea of trying to plan out. Well, when do you take the bullet train to go to Kyoto versus, and how long you stay there versus going to Kobe versus going to Tokyo? And as I'm playing the cards, I'm like, and I'm drafting. I'm like, oh, I was there. I love that place. I want to take it. It doesn't synergize. F it. I'm just gonna synergize anyway. I'm gonna play it anyway.
Make it work.
But no, I think it really sang. It was cool. I could see where, and so I read up on it. Apparently, like the guy who designed it was gonna do a trip to Japan.
Yeah.
And like the COVID hit, and so he's like, well, I'm not going to Japan right now, and he turned his trip to Japan into this game.
And that's what it felt
cool.
like when we talk immersion, right? So immersion into a game. I felt immersed here because each round felt like I had a catalog, a brochure. Like when you're in Florida, you stop at any hotel, there's like a wall of brochures of things to do. It felt like somebody handed me 4 of those, and I'm like, okay, I got to pick one of these and pass the other 3. Like, which one do I want to do? Let's go with the giant slingshot ride. Okay, I'll take that and slide those over. All right, then you get 3 more. Okay, what do I want to do out of that? So it really did feel like I was planning a trip.
Yep.
And then having to commit the days, that was the stressful part. Like, okay, I want to plan a day in Kyoto, right? But I got to make it work this way. So you're really hoping that your draft works out. But there is a mechanism in the game to help overcome drafting.
Yeah, there's
It's called taking a walk.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just take the back side of a card from the top of the deck. So all the card backs have take a walk, which is just like a basic, just getting too happy.
Like, I didn't plan anything. I'm just going to walk through the city, see what happens.
Right. And you can use that as your like in between or as an event for that day. However, what's cool about taking a walk, you can use it to mitigate, like, I don't like the cards I have here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, as you're running through your itinerary, Mike, you may have planned, take a walk. Here's the fun part. Like, I could flip that.
You can. You flip it, look
You
at
flip it no matter what. Yeah.
Oh, was it no matter
you
what?
flip it
I
and
thought
you-
it was going to be the
No,
flop.
You get to choose it.
You
Like, you flip
choose.
it and go, well,
Does it work or does it not
work or
work?
not?
I took a walk and here's what I saw.
Yeah.
Do I want
Do
that
I
or
want to
not?
do it or not? And then you put it back into the walk, or you keep it face up as its event. So it adds this fun, like unknown
Yeah.
to that itinerary as you go down it.
Very cool.
So we all seem pretty excited-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked
I
it.
played it 2 or 3 times at the con.
Yeah, Wayne loved it. I liked it. Where would you come in, Carlos?
I liked it, but found it very thinky, like way more
yeah.
brain work required to make that itinerary than I had thought.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was going to come in, we can drop some cards, but if you really wanted to try to win, you really had to put in some brain work.
Yeah, you're working it. And I think so the first time we played it, it was kind of a learning game. So like what's funny is
Holy crap, I won.
Yeah,
that
you
game.
won that one. Yeah, you did. You had a really good game.
No, 137.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Wayne had 121, Rob had 111, and Sheldon at 99.
Yep. The second time I played it that day, I actually I never left Tokyo.
Oh, yeah.
I think I played.
I remember that.
My
Yeah.
entire itinerary.
And mine
for all
almost
6 days.
Mine was almost all entirely
like
Kyoto.
all
Yeah.
Tokyo, and he was all. So
Yeah.
I needed one train token the whole time. So it was like
But that's not a great thing either, because if you're capturing, check this out. I love this part, Mike. The tickets that we told you about, the 2 points for the luxury ticket. There was a player who collected
like 6 or 7 of those.
right, but stayed in Kyoto the whole time. He thought he was going to get all the points
No, you got to use them.
for having those tickets, but no,
never-
you
you
have
never-
to actively
You never,
use
you
them.
never use the train.
If you never use the train, you never get the points.
Right.
So staying in one place for the entire time may not be the
I just
ideal.
never got train tokens. I use those to go for walks.
Oh, you just went for a walk
yeah,
instead?
yeah.
Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name, where you're calling from.
This is Ron Fraser from Atlanta, Georgia.
Fraser, how are you, sir?
I am great.
Good. Glad to hear from you.
We are catching up on the rest of our Dice Tower trip.
Oh, you guys didn't finish talking about it last week?
We'll come about halfway. Lots to talk about.
I don't think we're going to
still
finish
only-
tonight.
We may not.
All right. We'll see about that. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I just want to share my excitement with con season here. So tomorrow I'm going to a convention called Southern Fried Gaming Expo.
Nice.
Nice.
I recall you being there last year.
I was not there last year.
Or was that BJ from Board Game Gumbo?
It might have been.
Southern Fried, because this is not the first time we've talked about Southern Fried. So
It could have been him, but I'm looking forward to that. Arcade games, pinball games, and Dance Dance Revolution console games.
Oh, snap.
You name it. If it's electronic, they got it.
Nice.
But also, they have a tabletop present. So they have a game library. I think it's fairly extensive from what I recall. And there'll be role-playing games going on there. There's a big presence in the game that I'm into, Super Show, of course.
Nice.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff. That makes Ron happy.
well, Southern Fried makes me happy. Like anything Southern Fried.
Right. Yeah, so I know. But I'm looking forward to that. So, and then I'm going to Gen Con. So it's like Southern Fried is this weekend, and then in 2 weekends I'm going to Gen Con. Like, so I got a lot going on here. This is my happy time of the year.
Sounds like it.
Gen Con, man, that's awesome. I just want to get back there.
Yeah. But games and like the locations that you play games has just got me thinking about the whole concept of the third place again. So it was a topic that we were going to cover on the RPG podcast, which we haven't done.
Not since my
Did a couple
DLC.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really important to have a place to go. Because my house just where we are as a family. I cannot host anymore. Not in this season. Not if I want a happy wife. So, um,
So have you
I mean, it's
discovered
not,
a
you know,
third place?
it's
Is that what it is, or?
it's just that I have a couple of places I go to. Like the place 10 minutes up the road from me, Level Up Games in Duluth, Georgia, where the Dice Tower can be visited. And then another place called Meeple Madness, 30 minutes up the road, but I love that place. And yeah, I just wanted to, I wanted to ask you guys the question, like, where are you guys playing games these days? I know that like Armada or something. No, your turn definitely closed. And I know that was a place that you guys really liked. And I want to say, did Armada close?
No, Marta's still here.
Mhm.
Yeah, we haven't been
Still
up there as much. They've the miniature gaming scene there and the card gaming scene there are really, really big. And so it's been, you have to kind of pick your days for board gaming, I guess, up there is probably the best way to put that. But yeah, we still definitely keep them in mind to go there. We've got an embarrassment of riches here. And as I talk to more and more people, from talking to people at Dice Tower, talking to people at different places that I go to, I find out just more and more about how fortunate we are here in the Tampa area. We've got so many game groups here. We've got the Wesley Chapel game group that Nick Oben runs, and he's got 30 people on his list that could show up anytime for a game night. We've got the Tampa Gaming Guild just right here downtown Tampa. They've got their own facility. Well, it's not their facility, but they share it with a bridge club, or they rent it out from the bridge club. But they've got people who meet up there 3 nights a week, I think.
Yeah.
They've got 15 to 30 people who could show up on any night there to play games, all different levels of gamers there. They play light party games. They play heavy Euros. I played my first Lacerda there this last weekend. So, I mean, they play all different kinds of games there. We've got, obviously, the Beans and Dice group. We're going to try to get back into
We've
regular.
got the Brandon Board Gamers. You've got the Beyond Catan, the Trinity up by me.
Yeah.
There's
a group over in St. Pete. There's a group down in just south of here, Sarasota area.
Yep.
So
Lakeland has their Swan.
Yeah, Lakeland has
And
it.
then that's also to say, like, all of those various groups and people in those groups have host game days at their houses. So
Yeah.
Tampa is a very rich gaming area. We don't have as many game stores
Yeah.
or game cafes as some cities or some big places, but there's a lot of organized game plays
Yeah.
and game days all over the place.
Yeah, and we're lucky with the community we've built. So just in our group, Jim Odak has game nights every couple weeks at his place. Alex, who's somebody who I met through Jim and through some of the other Michelle, some of the other people in the game group. Alex has a huge 4,000 game collection. He has people over to his place regularly. I've just kind of started getting in with that group. Michelle in our group hosts game nights at her place like once a month. She's got 10, 15 people who show up at her place. I mean, it's just we've just got lots of places. We're really lucky here, Ron, that we just part of it is people that we've met and that we put together with our group. But then even without the Beans and Dice community, there was already a thriving game scene going on in the Tampa area. So we're really lucky here.
Cool. What about you, Mike?
Bring Mike in there, Washington.
I'm trying to. My problem is I really don't have enough time. So I kind of, when I first moved here, I came across this one guy who, I joined the Seattle gaming group on Facebook just to kind of join a group and maybe branch out from there. And you post your daily haul or whatever you got that day. And this one guy, Scott, reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, if you want to play that game, I'd be interested in playing." And I'm always like, initially, I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever, And then like out of the blue, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be inviting a few people over. You want to come over and game?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll try it out." And he seems to be the one that I pretty much game with all the time now. So if it's not him or somebody that I met through him, I'm really not gaming. I do have a few other friends that, part of the reason why we moved here, some friends that lived here prior to us moving here. But we do, actually, I was going to bring this up later on in the show. There's going to be another con beginning of August. Like, it's a smaller con. It's not like a big one. Dragonflight Con. This is like their 43rd year or something like that doing it, where they probably get a couple hundred to a few hundred people, if that. And, you kind of meet people through them. And, I've got my one board game designer friend that I usually sometimes will get together with. But other than that, I really don't have, like that third place that I think is what you're kind of touching on or getting to. I'm not saying it isn't in the area. I just don't particularly have that right now. So, but I wish I did, man. That would be it'd be good. I all the time. I wish I was back in Tampa for the gaming part of things in my life, because it really was. Just a really good, solid knit group out there to game with. At least once a month, you'd have a good gathering of people, to get some gaming in. So,
And you were a stone's throw away from Armada.
literally up the street.
Yeah, just right up the road. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do miss that from Florida. That's probably the only thing I miss from Florida, because the weather and everything else. No thanks. But Ron, it sounds at least like you've got 2 possible third homes. Is that accurate, or?
Yes, I do. Like, and I guess my point of me, like, bringing it up is that, like, I'm really grateful that I have that, because when I first got into the board gaming as a hobby, I was the one hosting. So, I just got so accustomed to that. But my life has changed. It's not that my wife's against it. She's not. It's just that, like, our priorities have shifted.
Yeah, right.
We are not the family. Yeah, there's some families that have kids and they still manage to host board games in the house. And
Carlos.
So
it's not easy, man.
So I discovered that we're not it.
Well, because it takes a certain type of gamer to be able to be okay with that environment, right? When I've got little ones running around loud, I got, Miss Rachel on YouTube on the TV in the front room and Bluey playing in another tablet somewhere.
I think
some folks just can't deal with that.
Already have kids are more accepting for something like that, possibly because they've kind of learned to tune it out,
right?
And focus on what's in front of them. But
it has a lot to do with your group dynamic. So, and also,
and what's weird is you tend to build a friend group like where you are in your life. Right, so like kids, similar ages, similar grades, right? Because you kind of are in the same circles. Wifey and I, we like reset that completely, right? We went from celebrating my 21st or the 21st birthday of my oldest, right, to now having a 8-month-old, right? So like,
better you than me.
It's a full.
Buddy.
The circles that we had with our older kids, right? They're moving in a different direction. We've got to find new circles for these new younger kids, right? Like Rob's not having another one anytime soon.
No.
The factory's closed.
Oh yeah, we're done. 3 is enough.
One and done.
Good man. Wayne's the smartest one out of us all, I think.
I'll never be bored. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So that's all I wanted to bring up and discuss. So I think it's having a place to game is important, whether it's your house or somebody else's house, or a location that you can consistently rely on to enjoy your hobbies with. So, folks, if you have that, be grateful. If you don't have that, it's my hope that you find that.
Or you become that for someone else.
Right. Agreed.
I know that before we started moving game days out into the public, the game days were here at the house, right here at this table.
Mm-hmm.
We would set up a second table. We had 2 tables going, And at that point, we realized, okay, I can't keep doing this. Like, we're getting too many people.
Yeah. It grew.
And that's where we moved it outside, and then COVID killed everything. Thanks, Koof.
Yeah.
Koovy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, folks.
Good night, Ron.
Appreciate you calling.
Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Man.
Ron.
Ron Fraser from Hot Atlanta. We were just talking, let's go to Japan.
We're not making it through.
Are you guys going to update your list?
Well, I was just stripping stuff off. I don't think we're going to make it, but we'll see.
We go long tonight.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Next week, we'll
Long.
update
I'm,
the
I'm, in it
extra
for
hour.
I'm in it to win it.
Yeah. Gotta go late.
So Saturday.
Yeah, we're on Saturday morning. That was the first game we played.
Game.
First
You guys
game
got
we
to burn
played.
through these a little quicker, man.
I taught a feast for Odin.
But that was a good game.
Done.
Oh, yeah,
it
you
was.
taught
I
Feast
just have
for
a
Odin.
feeling some of these are going to be on your list, so maybe you should go in deeper while you put it on your list, or
Yeah,
I like the conversation if we played it together.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
like I'm along for the ride. You
No
guys
rules.
went to DTE. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, but my game's kind of slowed down here into some smaller games. Rob got into something big, Feast for Odin.
I taught a feast
Did you
for
play or
Odin.
teach?
I played and taught. So I played taught played. I know Wayne also played Feast for Odin. Did we already
I
hit
played
that?
it on Friday.
Friday. Okay, so we already hit that for Wayne. So yeah, so that was your first game of Feast for Odin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you learned it for the first time. So yeah, it's what a great game. Uwe Rosenberg, I think he was my number one designer when we talked about that a few weeks ago. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Feast for Odin. It ran long. Again, anytime you're teaching that game, I guess it runs along. So it was a little slow. So I'm not sure that it was, again, Kristen and Nathan that I taught that. I'm not sure that they enjoyed the experience as much as I had hoped, because it kind of ran a little long. And then I was kind of rushing through the end of it because we made some lunch plans. We were trying to get out to lunch. But
I do recall that. I was wondering why I remember that. Yeah, we had lunch plans with the family.
Yep. So, and then after that, I got taught by Kristen and Nathan in the Hall of the Mountain King, a game that I've owned for a long time, was really wanting to learn and play. Unfortunately, I didn't like it as much. I know Nathan, it's one of his favorite games, and he really enjoys playing it and teaching it. I don't know if I just didn't click for me. I want to try it again. I own it, so that I've taken it off my shelf of shame. I'm one of those, I don't have to play. That was a little bit of discussion in the Discord this week. I don't consider that I have to play my actual copy of the game to take it off my shelf of shame. So since I played somebody else's copy there at Dice Tower, I now have taken it off of my shelf of shame. So I'm glad I got it played. I'm not itching to get it back to the table, but I want to play it again just to see if I missed something in my
I think
initial.
it takes a couple of plays.
Does it? Okay, that's right.
I
Mike.
enjoy the pyramid play of the cards a lot with that game.
Yeah, and I didn't realize the race to get into the high-scoring stuff in the middle was as important as it was, and so I wasn't really pushing that. Everybody else was building towards the middle, and I was doing some of the fringe stuff. I was like, oh, all right, now I see where you're getting all those points there in the middle.
Yeah.
So I probably missed a few things, so I need to get back to that. I played Let's Go to Japan a second time after that, so I played it twice in one day. My second play of it fell a little flat, and so it did taint my opinion of the game overall a little bit. I don't know why that second play. It just, maybe the combinations didn't come up.
It wasn't the fancy version.
Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the nice version. Maybe that was it. Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't have the ceramic bowls.
Yeah. I got in a couple plays. I'm going to try to go through these quicker, and then I'm not trying to steal. These guys can jump in here. But Harvest, Wayne taught.
I got in on some Harvest.
Yeah, I played several games of that on Saturday, so I've got.
I think that game in our game group probably got played 30 times during Dice Tower.
That was good. I know you were teaching it.
It is the cutest, meanest game
Oh, it is so mean.
I've ever seen.
Yeah. Did we touch on
Is
it
it
last
a
week?
trick
I don't
taker?
know.
What kind of game is that?
It's not a trick taker, so it's a card placement game. You're gonna have a set of cards in your hand, and you're gonna have a grid in front of you. You have your farm grid. I believe it's 3x3 or 4x4. 3x3, your grid. But you're gonna align those grids with the other players. So we have your 3x3 grid, my 3x3 grid,
And
Rob's
it scales
and
from
Wayne's,
2 to 6 players.
and you're just building this like farmland, right? Then on your turn, each of these areas that you control, you're gonna have to start by placing one of your vegetables on one of your plots on your 3x3 grid.
If your grid's empty, you have to play in your plane.
Right.
And that's where we're starting the game with one on yours. And as once everybody goes around and places one on theirs, now you have the opportunity to
remember you
place
guys
on other
talking about this
areas.
now, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we
But if
touched
you
on it at some
match
point, yeah.
3 veggies,
it harvests.
It harvests, so it wipes all those, and wherever they were, they go to the owners of that land. But cards range from like -50 to +50.
Negative 20 to
Negative
positive
20 to positive
negative
20.
20 to positive 20, and then there's the 50. Each one has a 40-point value one, and then there's the special things.
The 350 ones.
Oh, but it's so brutal.
Because you're trying to put points onto your side, but then other people are dropping negative points on your side, and then other people next to them are making that negative point trigger, thus making it scored, thus going into your pile.
We played it. I mean, I probably taught it 6 or 7 different times, and people would play it 2-3 times in a row because it's quick.
It's quick.
And I no one scored negative.
Yeah, you got 0.
But I got 0 once.
You got 0 points.
And it was like that was like a 4-player game, I think, or 5-player game, and it was like the winner had like 130, and I'm 0.
Yep.
It was a couple people with 10. It was a couple of 0 scores, a couple of zeros, a couple of 10s, 20s. And then people get 60, 70, 80, 100, 120, whatever it is. But brutal. And everyone loved it. I didn't think no one was like, this sucks. Because it's so quick, so brutal. It
only hurts for a little while.
It only hurts for a little bit. I know at least one person bought it off of Japan. Amazon is having it shipped over. So it was good. I got played a lot. I taught that one a bunch. Yeah.
We got some games of No Thanks in.
Yep.
I don't know if Rob joined us on that, but I know I taught it a few times.
Nope.
It was a nice filler game.
Yep.
And then we got into our post-lunch, our big game, which was War of the Ring, the card game. So this was a plan for William, myself, and Dan to play. Nick Oben joined us. It is a 2v2 Lord of the Rings 3-hour epic trot through all of the Lord of the Rings. Like not just the Fellowship of the Rings, but all of it.
And this is your first time playing this?
My first time playing it. I've never even, I think I cracked the rules because I bought a copy in the virtual flea market.
Okay.
So I had my copy, but we played with William's copy. I was able to crack the rules and kind of get prepared for it. You're flipping location, so an event location, and you're flipping a path location. And then each location will dictate what armies can contribute to those battles or those locations.
Thematic.
Okay.
Very thematic. So you're playing 2 versus 2. So Nick Oben and William were playing the light side. So William was playing the Fellowship. So like Frodo and Samwise and the moving the ring, like that was their deck. Those were their factions. Nick was playing the Free Peoples, so he had like the Rohirrim and the elves, and so he's got different factions in there. I'm playing Sauron, so I've got the Southrin people, I've got the orcs, I've got Isengard, right? So I've got all these different factions or symbols for different factions. Dan is on my side, but he's Sauron, and that's all that's in his deck. He's one type of deck. His whole deck is all just Sauron, right? So each location can only take from certain factions. So we have to dictate, like Dan and I, hey, listen, are you going to be good on this? Like, you got this? Like, because I don't have a lot of Southern right now. I need you to make sure you win at least the path. We're going to lose the battle, right? So and you do this 9 times for 9 different locations.
It's kind of like you're playing spades. That's spades where there's no table talk. You can't be like, oh, I got that. Like,
no, you can't say exactly what you
Just
have.
generalizing.
Right, you can generally say, yeah, I've got something for that, or I've got enough to beat that. Or
and then Dan's like, oh, well, I've got this one card. I can trigger it. It can give me a bunch of extra cards, and I might be able to help you, but do we want to do that now? Right, because it's going to cost me. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? That's a 2-point battle location. We're already behind by 4. We got to catch up. We need some momentum. Let's go. So he's like, all right. And he flips his card, and it's some magic spell, and we had so much fun.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Period.
Yeah.
Right. Like the designer is the same designer who does General Orders, that whole series of General Orders. I'm sorry, Quartermaster General.
Quartermaster General, yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for.
That's
Quartermaster General. Trying to remember his name.
I don't remember.
It was there,
Not
right?
Paolo.
No, he wasn't. I went and checked. It wasn't, but the company was there.
Okay.
Look it up here real quick.
Lee. I don't know why Lee stands out for me. Anyway, the games are behind me somewhere.
That's actually right there between you guys, isn't it? Right to Rob's left.
Isn't War of the Rings, right there.
Oh,
is that it?
Yeah, that's the card game that I picked up. That's my haul pile from. Yeah, you got it. Go Gadget Eyes. Damn, Mike.
Ian Brody.
Ian Brody.
There you
He's the designer of it, and it's because what he does is it's a simple card game, period. But the characters do so many cool abilities that can change stuff. There's items that you add to your different characters that modify them. The hardest part of this game is anytime you play a card, you must discard a card. They call it cycling. I don't know why. So you got a handful of cards, and they all look awesome.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna drop these wargs on you. But what am I gonna discard now? Right? Like I really wanted to use that other card.
And will you get that card back?
If
you
yes,
go through
they'll
your whole
cycle
deck.
through.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the end of it, it came down. We lost, right? Period. Dan and I lost, and I think we lost by 19 points to 13. Sounds like a lot, like a 6-point swing.
It was a lot.
But that battle swung.
So the market was really close.
That battle swung like 10 points.
Oh, was it?
Because you're able to recall other battles and bring them
Yeah.
back to the table.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Let's do Weathertop all over again.
Revisit that
Let's
one.
revisit that one. Like, I want to try that one again.
Yeah.
So I'm adding back these battles to the deck, and now William and Nick are like flustered, like, oh, well, now we got to divide our forces. Like, I can't send them to all battle. I mean, okay, I'm getting really excited.
Yeah.
Just to say, fun.
Good game.
I own a
Good
copy
game.
of it.
Yeah, I played it.
Chad is asking a question there in the chat.
Bottom
Bottom line.
All right. Can you talk in specifics if someone had Plantier card or something? I did the ball, right?
But can you say, I got this card? Is what he's saying.
I believe the rules say you can, but all talk has to be out loud and audible to everyone.
Seems right.
So if you've played the game more than once, you really don't want to say what you have because they'll know and they can defend against it or at least prepare a defense. Or just give up on the battleground and save their cards, right?
Yeah, I'm mad. Not mad. I wish I would have gotten into it. I own a copy of this game. Actually, the board game rundown folks gave me this game. For
Oh, cool.
Christmas. But when I went on their Thanksgiving show last year, they're like, "What game are you looking forward to?" I was like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this game." And they're like, "Well, we got like they had like a review copy sent it to me." So I just haven't played it yet.
It's a game you definitely want to play with 4 players.
Yeah.
And it is a little complex. If you don't have somebody who has played the game and knows how to play it, there are a fair amount of rules in it. I remember.
But it's not the rules of the game. It's the interaction of the cards.
Yeah, like order.
Probably.
It's like which card supersedes another card.
Although there were some rules things too. I remember because we played it right after it came out. Remember, I played it at the Dice Tower the year before, and it wasn't too long after it came out. The publishers were there at Dice Tower, and we played it. They actually taught William how to play it. We played it the next night, and then William went back and was talking to him about our experience the next day. And there were several just basic rules things that we had played wrong, just how the battles play out, who can play cards when. There was some timing things, so there's a little complexity to it, but yeah.
But it was good because I had the digital rule book and the quick sheet with me at the table on my tablet.
Okay.
William had the rule book. William and I got in a little bit of a scuffle.
No, really.
Big surprise.
There was a little hard feelings.
Shocking.
Surprise.
Well, it's hard because two people are interpreting rules differently. We want to make sure we play it right, but I do feel that at the end of the day we ended up playing it correctly.
Okay.
Like we got the rules down pat. Dan even mentioned he struggled. Like for the first quarter of the game, he struggled.
I did too, starting out.
But then once he got it, then he was really like, you see him over shuffling his cards in his hand, fanning them out, setting some aside here and setting some aside here. And War of the Rings, there is a 2-player scenario in the rule book that we could try one night on a Thursday. The Fellowship version. So it has 2 players playing.
Or get someone out, a 4th player.
You can play 3.
Yeah.
It allows you to play 3 because if you play 3, I believe the way it works out is 1 player plays all of the bad guy stuff, and then the other 2 players play the divided good guys. Cool. So that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
War of the Ring, the card game.
Anyway, yep.
Nice.
So yeah, Saturday actually. So my Saturday after Let's Go to Japan with you guys, right? I went and my kid did the pitch card tournament. Tom Vassel's pitch card tournament.
Nice.
Which is
Oh,
fun.
nice.
He got frustrated though. It was just
Your son or the Tom?
Yeah, my son. No, Tom was good. I mean, they had like 15, 20 kids there, and like my kid's competitive and he's a gamer, right? And him and I played pitch car. We had played pitch car several times that weekend, and we've played it before, and how you flick and whatever. And so he's like all about like doing it
The right way.
the right way. And there were some kids who were kind of like just like push, they were like pushing it, and he was like, Dad, they're not playing right. I'm like, buddy, this is not a tournament.
It's all about fun.
Yeah, it's called a tournament, but you're not gonna win anything if you actually win. You're just gonna get applause at the end, and everyone's getting the same applause anyway. So I was trying to convince him like, just have fun, dude. It's just chaos. It's like this is meant to be just an hour of fun chaos, but he was in his mind.
It's an activity.
It was an activity. He was treating it like I want to win and I'm gonna play it right, and then like. He got bumped off and didn't get necessarily the right order, but ultimately he's 10. He's gonna have those, gonna have those issues every now and then where he just, gets too into it type thing. But he had fun at the end and it was good. We definitely would do it again next year. And Tom was great, and he was Tom's really good at calling those kind of things.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like the ready set bets and the pitch car games and stuff like that. So like hearing him like narrate everyone's car. Oh, that car went off the road and pitched this and destroyed this car. And he's very good.
Has fun with it.
It was fun. And so I think once Malcolm kind of just let go of it, then he had fun with it. I think like first 10 minutes or so, he's just way too competitive with it. I'm like, buddy, it's not meant to be competitive. This is meant to be just
enjoy
a
it.
train wreck. And then as a family,
Wait. He is his father's son.
Oh no.
He complained the first half of the game and then ends up winning it.
he didn't win. He didn't win. He didn't win.
That sounds very familiar.
He did not win.
He was punished sternly when they got home.
He is his father's son.
Real quick, Carlos, change the ticker on the screen there.
Oh, sorry. Ron's off the phone. Phone lines are open. 813-618-7099.
No, Ron's just been hanging out in the background.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm watching everything. Go ahead.
But then we went. We spent probably like after that we went through and did all of the dexterity games, and there's some really cool ones.
He had a lot of them this year.
So we did that stupid pirate Balatin.
I'm never touching that one again. That was horrible.
That game was hilarious. And then Spinball was fun.
I didn't play the Spinball.
Yeah, Spinball was good.
I watched some plays of that. That
was
looked pretty cool.
that was
That
fun.
looked interesting.
Yeah, it was cool. It
looks
really
cool.
had to you had to snap it just right. And then we played some Crokinole.
Crokinol's great.
Yep. And then there was another cool one where it was like there was a ball in the center of the board, and the board was kind of triangular shaped almost. And you had marbles that you shot down a ramp, and you would hit the marble off. And then if you did it really quickly, you can get the marble into the other person's goal. That was kind of cool. And then they had Fubi, which was like a soccer one.
Is that the one with the metal pins?
Yeah, with the metal
Oh,
pins.
I didn't see that one.
That was cool.
I've
man.
watched videos about
Fubi
that
is
one.
cool, man.
I've
I kind of want
thought
to
about-
copy that now. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It was good.
I wanted to check that. Okay.
Yeah, we played a bunch of that with the rubber bands and the little metal pins.
That one showed up on back when I had Facebook. It showed up as
Yeah.
like a feed or something, and I
I
fell
saw
down a
that.
rabbit hole of
Yeah,
trying to tell myself not to buy it.
Marble game, Flippy, Fubi, Spinball, Suspend, Bumper Bots, Crokinole, Pitch Car, the Whip and Skip. Did you guys see that one?
No.
Oh, so there was like a big J,
Yes.
and it had like discs, and you had to flick them around
played
the
with that one.
J
Yeah.
and get it. It was kind of like skee ball.
Yeah, I played with
It's
that
kind of
one.
like a
It's like an
skee ball.
ABS plastic that
Yeah.
it had for the ramp.
the ramp,
Everything
yes.
slid
Yeah.
really smooth.
And it
They
was
showed that on the
basically skee
video.
ball.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yep. I mean, so we did all those for a while, and then we went into the dealer hall, and we went through the dealer hall, and I got my game of Obsession signed by the designer.
Nice.
Some free coins too. I saw.
Yeah. What he did, he had a big bowl of the coins that he did for the Kickstarter that we're all getting, like a set of the coins, and he's like, these were all the proofs, like the multiple back and forths with the company. So he's like, just take a couple. So everyone was grabbing 3 or 4 of them, and we're gonna get a set of them. And they look good. Like the coins for Obsession.
Nice.
I'm like, I could think of a lot of games I'd use those for. Like they're really nice. It was cool. It was interesting. Like like all of the whole bunch of people. There's a line of people who were looking to buy Obsession, and then there was a whole separate line with all the people who already have Obsession that wanted him to sign it. And he was like, almost freaking out about it. He's like, what do I do? What do you mean sign? I don't want to sign your game. I don't want to ruin the cover. I'm like, well, if you don't want to sign the cover, you can do the inside. So he's like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do the inside. So he opened up the inside and he signed it. But some people are like, no, I really want you to sign the cover. It was kind of cool. I can imagine it's got to be weird. Like if you create something and then like you're just
People actually like
kind of
it.
just a Joe Schmo like us. And then all of a sudden like these people are like, can you sign this? And like, He was like, I think he was a little blown away by that, which was cool. He was a really nice guy. He was showing off the expansion that we're getting, and it was. I just like him as a Kickstarter creator because it's just one dude.
Dan
Halligan. Halligan, I think. And
Halligan.
he does it all himself, and he is like, people. He had the example of the coin pack, and people are like, oh, can I buy that? He's like, nope. I got 4,000 in a warehouse, but I'm not selling a single set of it until the Kickstarters get their copies.
Oh wow!
And he's
Good for
like,
him.
so I'm like, that's why he has a fanatic fan base for this game, right? Because he's like any issues from the first printing, he fixed in the second printing, and like every time he comes out an expansion, he gives fixes to things in the past. He's just he does it well. It's really well run.
It's a great game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
His communication is great, and the way he handles the Kickstarters is just really fun. So anyway, I did that, and then after that, we spent the afternoon playing some of the demo games, and we demoed some games. And I'm actually going to email the guy. I haven't done it yet.
I did get an email from one of the persons you demoed from. I'm trying to remember the name of the game right now.
Emmy Bunnies?
Yep, Emmy Bunnies.
Oh, yeah,
he
that
reached out. Good. I was going to email him. That's the guy I was going to email.
Yep. So he reached out. So I replied back saying, yes, we'd love to have you. Let us know what Thursday.
Yep.
We love talking games with people who are.
I got to email him because he said he would come on our show here, and then he wants to go do TTS with my wife on her Twitch channel, and maybe get us like a demo copy. It was kind of cool. It was this very root-like, where like you have different asymmetric powers, but it's kind of described it as like Root for kids, but it's not kids Root. It's a simpler version of Root where you have these like little amoeba type things, and they all have their own power on how you run around the board to win, right? And it was fun. It was a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. And like the demo copy we played is like the first version, and like the artwork is getting better each time. Like it was definitely very
in progress.
In progress, kitty-like.
That's what was weird. Like I didn't expect that. Verhode was there.
Yep.
Jeff, he's been on the show with us. Right. So these folks who are in progress of designing the game, no Kickstarter set up yet.
Yep.
Nothing really being
But it's
sold,
out
but they're
there
still
demoing.
getting a booth and they're still out there talking to folks.
Yeah.
Really getting some feedback
Jeff
early.
Jeff wants to come on. He mentioned that he'd like to be back on and give us an update on what's going on. with
Oh
Verhode.
man, it's
So-
looking good.
Yeah, it is.
Verhode is looking really like where he took it to. Because he had emailed me after he was on the show and said, "Hey, I got the he talked to people. People called in and talked to him.
Cool.
He's like, I heard what they said, a box set, and that's what it is. Like we showed up at Dice Tower. He's like, this is my box set. This is my basic entry level box set, not the crazy package.
Nice.
And it looks gorgeous. Like it's a book, like a not a book, but 11 by 17 table. I would call them placemats,
Okay.
like a placemat size, poster size item you place on the table, and it's got all the rules for the scenario and the map and the monster stats all on one placemat that you just place on a table. You drop your minis on and you go. Right, so much easier than like a full setup of having to set up a board and different map tiles and different terrain features. So he really did make changes. It was great to see that. It was great to see other folks there with their stuff in progress.
We ended up demoing a couple of different games, and the guy from the Me Bunnies, I think that's the name of it. He also has like a fishing game too that he was demoing. And we looked at. So we did a bunch of the demos, and then we went back to the thing and played a couple. I think we played Creature Comforts for a second time, and a couple other games.
I got in Maglev Metro.
Yeah, we played Maglev Metro.
nice.
That was later. Yeah,
It was a really bad game of Maglev Metro. By far,
How?
by far
Rob-
the
Rob and
worst.
Dan
I ruined the game.
horrible. Yeah.
How?
By far the worst game. I was trying to just get a passenger that I needed. You know how you can pull to refill the stations?
Yes.
He did it like 7
I
times
did
in
it
a row.
7 times in a row, drawing just handfuls of passengers, and I could not get the passenger I
And-
needed.
and then
so
wait, after-
we ended up
after-
with a mound
after
of
the-
passengers on one station. There was like 12 passengers all stacked on one
after
station.
the 6th time, I'm like,
yeah.
hey Rob, can you look in the bag?
And see if there's any of those
and
in
he's
there.
like, oh yeah, you can look in the bag. And he looks in the bag. He's like, there's not one of the guys I need in the bag.
Yeah.
So he pulled like 6 in a row.
Amazing.
Yeah, there was a stack of all on one station, so the game ended way premature.
Way
because the
premature.
game ends once you can't pull. Once you want to go fill a station, you can't pull one out.
And a friend
Can
of
you,
mine,
are you allowed to put that many people on one station?
Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
limit.
there's no
Yeah,
limit, yeah.
So
it kind of broke the game a bit. And what happened was he ended up pulling like all of these guys on the station. A friend of mine, Michael, was playing with us, and it was his first game. And like Rob pulls all of these guys, and here you go, Mike. Those are all for you.
Yeah,
and
he was just sitting there. He was just sitting there waiting as I was pulling him out. He was just filling them into his car and going and delivering them.
So he crushed us.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Dan laid track that was wrong, so he had to spend 2 turns undoing his track.
Yeah, it was a bad game.
So it was a bad game, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was comical.
Yeah.
It was funny. I don't know how fun it was, but like halfway through the game, I was just.
I've never heard you talk bad about Maglev.
Yeah, I love Maglev Metro, and halfway through the game, I was like, "This game is ruined." I mean, there's no way I can win. I spent half of my game just pulling people and stacking them up on this thing.
Yep.
Well, Robert, your copy of Maglev is sitting right behind you. It sounds like it could stay here forever. Then, right?
Maybe, yeah.
It's ruined for you.
I like
Never
Maglev.
again.
I like Maglev. That game was bad. Yeah, so that was bad.
Played Harmonies. Played Pokemon Splendor again. Played a couple of games of Botswana. Which is another one of those games that I got from Japan.
Yep.
Good Renner Knizia bidding game.
Bidding.
It's kind of like not quite. Yeah, it's kind of like bidding.
What's the twist on the bidding for this one?
It's like an economic.
It's like an economic game. So you have cards 0 through 5 in each of the 5 animals. And when you play a card, you can then pull an animal, but you don't have to pull the animal you play the card for, right? And what happens is the animals' point value for the animals matches the last card that was played for that animal.
Kind of like veggie stock.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you play the 0 for an elephant, elephants are now worth 0. But then if I put the 5 down, now they're worth 5. But there's 0 through 5.
So you're manipulating the value.
Manipulating the value, and there's a couple of cards that get thrown out. So you have
Imperfect knowledge.
just a little bit of imperfect knowledge because there's a couple of cards missing. But fun, quick.
You love Dr. K.
I love Dr. K. I love his games.
That's fun. I played that several times during the con.
Yep.
It's a good one.
And then Saturday we went to the comedy show.
Yes, Grant Lyon.
Grant Lyon's board game comedy show.
Talk about things you don't know about people. He was a semi-professional. Well, he was a professional, I guess, soccer player, really.
Well, he played for he played in the national championship game of college soccer. He was a college soccer player.
Yeah.
And then went professional soccer player for a little bit before he got into board games and comedy.
Yeah.
Weird.
Worlds
But
collide.
it was funny. It was really funny. He had like there are only 4 types of game teachers, right? There's the game teacher who always leaves out a rule, and then at the end that rule pops out. Then there's the game teacher who gets 5 minutes into the rule teaching, let's just play and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Then there's the game teacher who literally
Everything.
needs to read the entire rule book from front to back and give you every single rule.
Yeah. There's the teacher who sits down and like, I know how to play this, and as soon as they open the rule book and they start just reading out of the rule book. So.
It was so good.
Yeah, he was funny.
He had like top 10 pet peeves of board gaming and all this stuff. And I think the skit that Rob and I think maybe you and I were both like dying about. He was talking about like, board gaming is kind of a weird thing, right? He's like, I'm single, I'm dating, I go out and I'm dating a woman and I take her back to my house and I'm like, no, I got a couple board games, and she comes in and sees the 400 board games on the wall, and you got to think in her mind, she's like, I'm gonna die tonight. And he's like, because let's be honest, if I was dating a woman and she said I have bobbleheads, and I walk in and there's 400 bobbleheads shaking their head at me, I know that my head's getting stuck on one of those things by the night. Oh my god, I was crying.
Yeah, he was pretty funny.
It was really funny.
He did an hour-long board game.
Hour and 20. It was almost an hour and 30. And then at the end, he goes, now we're gonna play a game. Everyone in the room.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, Tom doesn't think this is going to work, but it's going to work. And he played, it was Blob Party.
Blob Party. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
the one with yes.
Yeah.
So it was like everyone's a blob, and he gives out questions. And like the first one was ancient and nature, right?
Yeah,
So
they give you 2 words.
two words.
He draws out of a deck, so they're
Deck.
just unrelated words, and you have to just write down. Was it a one-word answer?
One word and
Yeah.
answer. What's your answer for nature? So if I said nature and ancient, what would you say?
Moss.
Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Moss works. So like the biggest one was dinosaur. So like 75 people said
I figured
dinosaur.
Moss was around before dinosaurs,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
So, okay, that's a blob. So we started out, like he said, I think we're going to get all 250 people in this room into one big blob within 6 questions.
Oh, wow.
Or 7 questions.
like 6 degrees to bacon or something.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
So the first one was that, and there was, dinosaurs were over here, and boom. And then there was probably 10 or 12 different blobs, and then there was a whole bunch of individual people. And then second question, another big group came in. It slowly, and it did. Within 5 questions.
Yeah, I think it was 5. We had everybody in the room was
Everybody in the
all
room
together.
was all together. It was good. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I think Tom was freaking out because he's bouncing on the chairs, like up and down, because it was tight room.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like stepping over
chairs,
and I
and-
could like look at Tom's like, don't trip and fall, don't hurt
Grant
yourself.
was?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Grant
because
was,
Granny did trip and fall
Yeah.
once, and he's like, "I'm fine, Tom. I'm good." He jumped up.
Tom's worried about his insurance.
Yeah.
But no, it was really fun. I thought it was worth it for the comedy of it. He was definitely pretty funny. So.
Yeah, I said it was an hour. It was. He did break into a few other things. So he brought in some of his mainstream. It was probably 90% board game stuff,
Yeah.
but he broke into a few
Yeah,
other
it
little
was-
things. But it was good. It was
Yeah.
very family friendly, which was good. So
Yeah.
he had a few areas where I started to wonder, and I saw Tom's family was sitting in the row right behind us.
So we're sitting in this row. Right behind us is Tom's wife and all of his kids.
Yeah, a couple times he got a little gray area. I was kind of like wondering, like, oh, is Tom going to say something?
Yeah,
But
but no, it was
he
good.
kept it pretty clean. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You could tell. I saw Z and Camilla were there too, and she was cackling. She
Oh,
was,
yeah.
she was enjoying it. Yeah,
So-
so it was definitely worth it.
It was good. Yep.
While you guys were at the show, we were getting another game in of Thunder Road Vendetta.
There you go.
So this was with Nick Oben getting to be the trigger man. So it was great watching Nick get Nick attempting to catapult someone else and ends up catapulting himself into someone else, and then that catapult gets him off the board, which kills his last car, which triggers the end of the road, allowing me on my next turn to cross the finish line and come
nice.
out a victor.
Nice.
So the brown team, because I was the brown cars, we won. But that was my second play of Thunder Road Vendetta that week. I think we ended off the night with some games of Sea Salt and Paper.
Yeah, what did we play?
And finally we finished, I think, with
I didn't.
You didn't.
Saturday was Darwin's Journey, right?
No, that's
That's
Sunday.
Sunday.
That was Sunday.
I went
Sunday.
Wandering Towers. I went back Saturday night, played Wandering Towers, which was okay. Very luck based.
Memory and
Luck based. It was
yeah.
it was interesting.
How many times did you play Sea Salt and Paper?
Probably 3 or 4 times. I played twice, right? 2 or 3 times.
I think twice for me.
Yeah.
Did it get any better for you? Because I know initially you weren't too crazy about it.
I'm starting. You know what? I'm starting to like it a little better.
Except for Wayne.
Why?
Like you were
with
you
the
and the
shark?
shark.
Oh,
Man,
shark. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that-
We played a game and like I just
like I want to pull out all those cards. Maybe all the swimmers, maybe all the sharks, but both of them can't stay. Like,
me, Dan, and Carlos played it on Sunday morning, and I think like there was one game where I literally had like 4
Pairs.
4 pairs of shark and humans.
Oh,
And so, like,
that's
every time,
crazy,
And then like every time Carlos had picked up like a card he needed, I'm like,
Yoink.
but it was good. I'm
I-
still trying to decide if it's better than Scout. Like which
So
one I like better.
I played it the one time at Michelle's, and then I played it a bunch on BGA, and I was not liking it the more I played it on BGA. But now that I played it a couple more times in person, I'm making that connection a little bit better on how you can string things together and when to call versus when to push.
That was fun. We had some moments in our game, Wayne, myself, and Dan, where one of us would call, and you thought you had it locked in. You thought you had it in the
I
bag.
had 13
And
points
you're
one
like
round.
last
And or I had
chance.
yeah,
Right, the last chance.
I had 12 points with a last chance, and Dan pulled out 13. I'm like, what the?
And it didn't work out. Like, and that was nice to see. Like, when playing with the family, I felt like when I called, right, last chance, I felt like my lock was really set, and for the most part, it was. Playing with them, it was really like a dice throw. Like, I really had to be sure I had it locked in. We got a call coming in. Beats and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, Carlos, Rob, Wayne, Mike, it's Chris from Texas. How y'all doing?
Hello, Pop.
Yeah, that's right. AKA Pop.
What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just listening to you guys dialogue here, and I have to go back and listen to the rest of the show, but was able to catch the tail end of it here. So you
Thanks
guys
for
had a
popping
good
in.
show so far. Just talking about Dice Tower, recapping everything.
Yeah, having a lot of fun with
Still
the
trying to finish
memories
up.
on that.
Yeah. Lots of memories.
It's fun going through it again and like recapping and talking through those plays.
Oh, yeah.
It really reminds you how much worth it is to get out to a con.
Absolutely, yeah. I've only been to one con. It was in 2019. It was Origins, but it was such a blast.
Oh
I
yeah.
loved it.
Good
That's
stuff.
a major con.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
back well, too.
I actually won a contest too. I won like 5 games. It was really cool. I was in a raffle, and I won one of the raffles. I was like, so I came back with all these games that I didn't pay for, which is really cool. I did buy a few games too. That was when I got the last Century game. And the trilogy was the third one. I actually got it, and I got Emerson to sign the game.
Nice.
And got to
very
meet
cool.
him, and yeah, so it was like, it was amazing.
This is when Chris decided to never go back again. He will always be undefeated champion of the raffle at the con.
There you go.
That's right.
Exactly. Stop while you're ahead.
What you got for us tonight?
Well, I got the camera that I was going to get. So Isaiah and I are going to work on the next video. I won't tell you what it's about, but we're going to work on the next video on Sunday, and I'll get that posted probably next Monday. So there'll be a video, and I'll put it in the channel. But we'll be better quality video and audio and everything, and
Sweet.
see what we're just going to do like a shorter. It'll be a shorter video than the last one, probably about half the length. But yeah, it'll be fun to get a little better quality in there. And so I got my memory card coming tomorrow, and I already got the camera, and so it'll be exciting.
Isn't it amazing how when you do like a top 10 list, how much longer it takes than you thought it was going to? Like I'm doing a top 10, maybe a couple minutes per game for each of us. All right, we're about 20 minutes in. Let's go.
It
2
is,
hours later.
especially when you double. It's twice when you have two people. Yeah, twice as long.
Yep, for sure.
You know.
Cool.
I've been playing. I got another play of In the Footsteps of Darwin tonight.
There you go.
My son, and got twice. I told Isaiah, I said, might as well just leave it out. So we left it in the vault, and I'm like, we'll play it again later this week, and we both improved our scores. So that was cool.
Are you seeing any combos come out of those theories?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of random. The theories themselves, I mean, and then you got to obviously stack a tile on top to get another theory, or take one of the scientists that gives you another theory. So it depends on the game. Like I actually had 3 publications. So I had 15 points for publications this game, which is rare. Usually I'll get like 2 publications, when you get a column or a row.
Column or a row.
Yeah, you get a publication. I got 3. So I got 15 points just in publications. And then I had a bunch of just points on the board, 2 points, 3 points. And then I didn't do as well on the compasses multiplied times the journals or whatever. I only had like 3 points from that. So that was where I was the lowest. But then I got Darwin, so I got the +2. So I had like 37 points total, which is a good score.
Yeah.
I think my highest score is 42.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting what they choose for the Spielsaurus, because you have that, Captain Flip, and Sky Team, which are it's interesting.
So different.
Because Sky Team is totally different than the two of them, and Captain Flip, which I've been playing a bunch lately now on BGA, like it literally has one rule.
Like in my reading of the rules of watching how to plays,
Captain Flip,
it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on there.
Literally, like you take a tile, and you either place the tile
or flip it over.
And then each tile has some different scorings. Like there's some, like it'll score every row or column, or if you have 3 cannoneer, it'll score you 5, and if there's 3 of them, you lose, right? If you have too many cannons or something. It's really simple, like super simple. So like you have this crazy
like gameplay youth simple.
like it is just like you could teach a 5-year-old to play that game easy, 5, 6, whatever in that range. There's that, and then there's Darwin's Journey, in Footsteps of Darwin, which is not a very complex game either, but has some gamery elements. And then you have Sky Team, which is a 2-player game.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
Very weird. Yeah, very stressful. Very stressful.
You flip the plane.
Yeah, flip the plane.
Not the ship.
Do a Captain Sully. Yeah, so I've played all 3 now, and
Which would you pick? I know we're going to talk about doing predictions.
yeah, we haven't. We have to.
Maybe we'll save it for that.
Yeah, maybe.
Tune in in a couple weeks and you'll find out.
Maybe,
That's who we
I don't-
picked.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I would say Sky Team, but a 2-player game for the Spiel, that's kind of weird. So I'd probably go
Be a first.
first. Footsteps of Darwin, probably.
I don't know. That's a great 2-player game, though.
People are like all about Captain Flip, and I'm like, this game is just
I read the rules of how to play. I kind of watched some how-tos. I'm like, I don't see this.
so simple.
Are you aware of this one, Chris, Captain Flip? And I love Palomori. He's my guy.
I'm aware of it, but I've not actually played it, so I don't know much about it.
It really hasn't drawn your attention either.
It's simpler than Footsteps of Darwin, I'll tell you that, by a decent amount. So
I haven't played it
Yeah,
yet.
one rule. It sounds like it.
basically.
All right, so he's beating up on Tot in the Footsteps of Darwin, trying to beat his own high score. What else you playing?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's see. We played. What did we play this? I know I posted in the Discord channel. We played. Man, I can't even remember now. I know we played Footsteps last time, so we played Footsteps back to back, and we played something before that. And I have to go look at the Discord channel. I don't remember. It's
Yeah, I
been
know.
one of those weeks. Like,
Work's
work's
been
just
nuts
so
for
busy.
me since I got
Same
back
here?
from
Oh,
Dice
man.
Tower. Like it's like evaluation season, so I'm like writing and delivering evaluations, and we took that whole week off for Dice Tower, over a week that I took off, so I'm already behind the 8 ball on the month. I think the only games that I've gotten played so far since I got out of Dice Tower have been the White Castle a couple of times, and then you guys got to play with it today, and Thunder Road Vendetta. So I think like 3 plays.
Yeah, I've only played 2 or 3 games. I taught my wife Final Girl, and she went through. She's been playing Final Girl. She played a couple times. It's nice.
So good.
And we got the
All right,
Krampus.
okay, well, I did check out Discord. So I played Raccoon Tycoon with the Fat Cat expansion,
I wanna play
deluxe
that.
edition. It's a lot of fun. It's my favorite auction bidding game. It's great, especially when you throw in the expansion.
Yeah.
And the deluxe recess boards, double layer boards, just so nice. So anyway, played that Saturday, and then it looks like Space Park, which is one of Mike's favorite games
Hell
there.
yes.
I played that as well. So I played some games in the last week for sure. It's like 4 games right there,
Nice.
or 4
Nice.
plays.
Nice.
3 games, 4 plays.
Good
Good
deal.
stuff.
I was going to post in the chat. Have you guys checked out the Gen Con 2024 preview on Board Game Geek?
I
Yeah,
haven't looked
a
at it
bit.
yet.
I've watched
No.
a couple of videos from various other like Man vs. Meeple did one, and a couple of, like 3. The Thinker Themer. They've all done their preview show. So
Yeah.
that pretty consistent. The same 4 or 5 games that everyone's really hyped about. So
Yeah. I did. Have you guys check out the Kickstarter for Luthier?
Yes.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
We,
So good. And that's,
We were
I've
talking
been looking
about that
for
one
that for a long
pre-show.
time. I
the
can't
all
wait
in's like
for that one.
260.
ooh,
Well,
What?
yeah.
Is it
You don't
that
need all that though. I already have a baton.
It comes
It's
with a
just like,
baton.
you don't need
So you
that.
can conduct
It's
your
just, like
own shit.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just even the deluxe version is like 126. or
It's
something.
99. I think it's 90. I think it's 90.
Well, there's the
$90.
there's like the retail, which is like 60. Then there's like the retail plus, which is 90 something. Then there's like the deluxe, which is like 120 something. Then there's like a deluxe plus, at like 190 something. And then there's
What
like
the
the
hell,
all
man?
in, which is like 260.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a little
crazy. I just
crazy.
did the second. The second one to me is the best bang for your buck, just not to overspend, because the deluxe components are beautiful. You get a ton, and you get all the stretch goals too.
what is it about Luthier that draws you to committing that much?
For me, it's the theme.
The
I mean, I'm a
theme.
musician.
Oh,
I
yes.
love the theme, and it's also this. Remember Lockup? I know Mike had that on his list. Role player tale.
Yep.
Where you put down some of your workers blindly, or not blindly to
Blind
you, but to other
bidding.
players. Hidden. Yeah, and it's got that, and I've never seen that in a heavier Euro before. So it's the first time it's combining that thing that I already enjoy in Lockup, but in a heavier Euro. And then it's just really neat the way the turns go and the turn structure, and it's got a really cool way to teach it, where you play like one act or something, and then I think this still has that, but you play an act and you teach the game in one act, or I think maybe it goes into the second act, and so you can teach the game and then just either start over, or you've already taught it to them, play it again. Probably you'd want to just do that, start over, play a full game. But it teaches the game really well, is what I've heard, if you just play that first act. So everyone kind of understands the game. So it's got a really good rule book, easy to teach when you do that. The theme, the components, obviously, are breathtaking. I mean, it's incredible. And then I love worker placement already. And then just the turn flow. I love the different options you can do. It's like point salad. There's tons of ways to score points, and you don't have to just choose one strategy. You can choose lots of different strategies, and a lot of good player interaction, right? For a Euro with good player interaction, good theme. So those are all things. And obviously Distilled is very popular. I've played it on Board Game Geek once. Or BGA once, and I thought it was good, but I just didn't like all the randomness to it.
Right.
And so
That's where I was at.
This game doesn't have that. It's strategy, and so I'm really excited.
I can't top deck a win.
Yeah, exactly. Because it can be frustrated if you set up your turn really well and then you just happen to draw the wrong cards or, and get what you need on distilled. But I'm sure if you played it enough, you could figure out the right strategy. But
I just worry about that blind bidding. Like I think of Steve Jackson's
even if someone
the
outbids
Resistance.
you, they just go before you. You still get
Right.
the action. You still get to take the action.
Yeah.
It's just you may not get
You
the
don't
best
lose.
part of. You may not get like everything in that spot.
But it's also dictating where you're going to start that round, because whoever wins the bid can choose to start their actions in one area. Isn't it something like that? Or,
Yeah.
But
Ultimately, I was hyped for this game, and then watching the playthroughs. There's been a couple of playthroughs. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. But for the price, there was a lot. There's an awful lot of this game that is very similar to Rococo, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and I have the Rococo Deluxe Edition. So I'm ultimately not going to back Luthier because watching the gameplay was very similar in a lot of the mechanisms and the way it plays. If you look, even the game board is.
But Chris,
very
I thought you were a fan of Rococo too. Am I wrong?
I am.
How accurate do you feel Wayne's statement is here?
Well, I probably haven't watched. Did you watch a full playthrough?
Yeah,
Wayne?
watch the full playthrough.
Yeah, I need to watch a full playthrough, Carlos.
Before you ask for your money back?
The bidding is different. I'll
Well,
tell you,
I mean,
the-
I don't think that's going to happen
No,
because,
it's
like
close.
I said, the theme alone. If
Theme is
it's
so good.
very similar
Yeah.
to Rococo, but just has the music theme on it,
Yeah.
and then it
enough
has
for
some
you.
nuances,
That
that's
does it for me.
enough. But
it's not
for everybody.
Not it's not a 100% clone. To me, it felt close enough where I'm like, well, I've got this, and the theme is great, but I like that era, not necessarily the music part of it. So I have Rococo that does it for me, right? And I'm not. I was just telling Rob beforehand, I'm out of space. I got 500, 600 games, no more space. So another big box, and this is the second game from Paverson, and Distilled was good. And I enjoyed Distilled. I own it. But there were some problems with it, so like I'll wait. It's a try before I want to play it.
Yeah.
Before I buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wisdom.
I agree. I love the theme. I was a violin guy. I played violin for 12 years through middle school and elementary school and high school, and love that whole thing. Love that that time period, the era. It sings to me. But yeah,
I see what you did there.
Yeah, exactly. I always play before I buy, so it'll be a game that I have to try before I buy anyway. But man, yeah, it looks good. And the components look great. The board looks great. The art's great. Who did the art? Anybody know? I thought it was one of the
Vincent
big
Yeah,
Dutray?
Is it
Vincent
Dutray?
Dutray.
Oh, it's
That's
Dutray.
what-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That's one of the things I love about it too.
Yeah.
See, but if I'm right, Robert, you're also not going to be upset if you end up with just a retail version. Like,
Oh no, yeah, not really, not usually. I'm usually a retail kind of guy.
right.
Yeah.
So you're going to allow the process to work through, make sure it is quality,
Quality,
with
buy
that
it,
theme.
Probably buy it on the secondhand market at some
Well,
point.
and even
so-
Distilled, like people were able to get the deluxe copies later
yeah.
for not that much more than it
Yeah, I
was.
think Tom was saying that his opinion is the secondary board game market is like crashing. Like it's just
Yeah.
the value that people thought they would have in holding on to these games isn't really there.
No. And you saw, I mean, the flea market, like the virtual flea market, games sold, but a lot of games sold a lot
I got
cheaper.
that War of the Ring, the card game in shrink with the promos, $20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of games that people would put them on there and then just kept lowering the price and lowering the price and lowering the price. But no, I mean, Luthier does look really good. And watching the gameplay, it definitely looks good. But like, I just need to find space for it myself.
And the music aspect doesn't sing to you.
Oh, it does. It does. I just don't have. I really need to get in a purging mode versus buying
Okay.
mode.
Just find 2 to 3 games you can get rid of.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
It's a piece of cake, man.
Two
That's
or
less than
three,
1%.
Yeah,
2 to 1.
and you have 300 some games.
More than
See,
that.
my collection's not as big as yours, so I have, I cull every year. I mean, I get rid of games every single year. So I think that's one reason where I could do it.
I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah. You know what you need to do, man? I've been looking at the whole night long. I'm looking. I'm like, well, there's a game and 2 expansions that should just be one box, and there's 3 games.
Yeah, man, combine stuff.
Combine, man.
Yeah, it's just,
Like
There's
all
a
that-
lot I need to do.
all
There's
those
a
features-
lot.
Just send me Brian Baru while you're at it.
still on that
I'll
train.
sneak it out and put it in the shift. Yeah.
Thanks,
Brian Baru was checked out. I don't know if you, again we were talking about some of these games.
Yeah.
With the Dice
12
Tower
times or
statistics.
something?
Yeah, it was like one of the fairly high checked out games at Dice Tower.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it was
Yeah.
checked out like 12 times at
Something
Dice
like
Tower. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
wow.
kind of crazy. So it's like, yeah,
I gotta get that played then.
it's a good game. It is good.
It sucks, man. Just
The
send
rule.
Send it to Mike. Send it to Mike. Yeah. Anyway,
All right, Texas. What else you got for us?
Trying to think. That's mostly it. I know we talked last time about some of our anticipated games. Some of the ones I mentioned last time are actually SN releases.
oh okay.
Because I said some of them were Gen Con, but I found out later there were some SN ones in the mix, like Unconscious Minds is SN release.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They got
Yeah, I'll have to
the
wait longer.
Rock Hard.
So stupid.
A rock hard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, there's the thing that doesn't interest me. I mean, no, I mean, as a kid, obviously, I listened to, a lot of that music, but I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't draw me because I like classical music more.
Yep.
So, yeah, because I listen to classical music all the time.
So that's what's interesting. So I watch playthroughs of both now, and while the Luthier playthrough that looks really good, it looks like a good game, but there's a lot of similarities to another game that I own that is whatever. I watched the Rock Hard one, and I'm like, I don't know. There's
Yeah, I've gone very cold on
yeah.
that game
yeah.
since.
I'm sorry. Like I feel like I'm bust. Like Mike was like,
Yeah, bust his bubble.
oh my god, at Dice Tower, he's like,
Well, I mean,
send me photos, send me photos. You're
Yeah,
like,
it's a theme, and it looked like it had really good table presence. And then, and I was thinking, oh man, this looks pretty involved. Like there's, 3 phases for every round, and people are calling it a Euro. And
linear.
The more I discovered about it, the more I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
that kind of, which is fine. I mean, it's only saving me money in the long run. But it's good that I discovered that I didn't like it before, going all crazy and
Before
trying to
even playing
pre-order
it, you discovered you didn't like it before you even tried it.
There you go, man.
It just seems like the gameplay is not as complex as you think. It's going to
Yeah.
be pretty light.
So
I don't even think it should be called a Euro, personally.
Yeah,
There's
and it's-
too
yeah.
much randomness in it.
A lot of randomness, and it's very linear.
Yeah.
It's like really only one way to score. So
Yeah. Love the theme, though. But
yeah, I think, and then I'm on a kick of kids table board games. We played 4 or 5 of their games at Dice Tower East, and they have a couple of new games. They have a Capybaras, which is a capybara, and then a cafe, so it's Capybaras, and it's like a card game. And I'm like, my kid just did like the capybara experience at the Clearwater, where you got to go pet and play with the capybaras. So like, I'm tempted. Do I know when I'm going to Gen Con? I can get me a copy of this game.
Yeah.
But it's going to come out soon anyway, so I'll get it. But I'm really liking their games. So
sweet.
Those
There's
are our
a funny
thoughts,
game
Chris.
that there's a funny game that I just heard about this week in the news. It's a game by Eric Lang and Phil Walker Harding.
Oh, yeah.
Co-design. Have you heard about that? Wrath of the Fire Mountain?
Yeah, it's from this. It's same line as Exploding Kittens or something, isn't it?
It's from Game Right. I know it's Game Right, which is Sushi Go.
Sushi
Same
Go.
company as
Okay.
Sushi Go.
Okay. Maybe I
Yeah.
remember wrong.
It-
Okay.
It looks interesting. It's kind of King
Eric
of
Lang
Tokyo
and
style.
Phil Walker Harding.
yeah, what was the name?
Yeah,
of it?
that's funny. Wrath of Fire Mountain. I'll stick it in the Discord as well.
I'll pull it up here.
WRATH, Wrath.
Yep, Tony, I got it right here. Wrath of Fire Mountain.
But it's Yahtzee style dice rolling, but then it also has what is the other mechanism? Area majority influence, and I like area majority influence. It looks a little like the artwork's like kind of okay. I mean, you can tell it's a cheap game. It's like a 10 game, but it looks like it could be fun. I mean, I'm not like super excited about it or anything, but it's just neat that they designed a game together.
No, just the 2 names alone, it has me like, okay, this one's an insta buy.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought too, because I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to watch, wait and see kind of thing. But based on the designer pedigree, it would be a safe bet, But I just don't know if I want to get a game. Looks like a very light game. Rob, like Rob would be like, yeah, it's light,
Yeah,
2 out of 10.
It is very light. I saw, I can't remember who was previewing this. Somebody previewed it and they showed a little bit of the gameplay and they said this is a mass market, like a step up from Clue or something like that. This is a very mass market, Target, Walmart kind of game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
But
got a
that's nice they're designing
volcano.
games.
Yeah, got a volcano, got the
And
toy
dinosaurs.
factor. Yeah.
I I like these little minis. It reminds me of Nexus Ops.
Ah, yeah.
Kind of like the little mini plastic minis.
It's a little bit like it, yeah.
Phil Walker Harding has figured out how to get his games in the mass market, though.
Yeah.
Because every game he publishes is out there in Target. So.
It's Eric's way of getting in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna break into the
There you
Target
go.
thing. Target
Crack
money.
the door open for me.
Yep, could be. Yeah.
So last thing I wanted to mention, I mentioned last week too. Did you guys get a chance to look at Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle Earth on the Board Game Geek page? Check out the components and all that and the artwork.
I haven't.
I posted in the Discord, but it's a beautiful looking game, and like I said, I think it improves upon Seven Wonders because it gets rid of the scoring altogether, and you're just dealing with the area majority, which I just love in games like Rococo, area majority.
Yeah, I saw it in the Dice Tower recap video. They showed a little bit of. I think Z was doing a little skit there where they were playing it at one of the tables, and he ran up and he was like, "Oh my God, it's here! They're actually playing it here!" And so you could kind of see a little bit over the shoulders of the people playing. You kind of got a feel for the artwork and stuff of it. So, but yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, Carlos and I love Seven Wonders Duel. I mean, that was a game we played at the wing place, the bar, whatever. We just pull it out. Yeah, work. We just pull it out, throw it on the table, play it during lunch breaks at work and stuff. So yeah, we played a lot of that, and we played a lot of it without the expansions or anything, just the base game. And then when the Gods expansion or whatever it was came out, it added you another thing to where it wasn't so linear that the base game you could kind of
Almost gave you a pass action.
Yeah, because you could kind of math out, or if he takes that, I'm taking that, and then I got to take that, he's taking that. But then you had this other option now. You could go over to that other board and buy a card and kind of mixed all that up, and it was like that kind of blew our minds. And we played that expansion. There was one other expansion we played, but we never played. There was something with ships or something, wasn't there? There was I think there was one where you could launch boats or something. I don't know. It was the one.
I think Pantheon's the only one I got.
Well, yeah, Pantheon.
Because the other one wasn't as good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we've got a lot of that in. So I'm sure putting the Lord of the Rings Middle Earth theme on there, switching up some of the gameplay, I'm sure it'll be a big hit.
Yeah.
That one's on the Insta-buy list.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
And
yeah.
now this
Already
Wrath of
pre-ordered.
Fire Mountain, like it's that one's probably gonna go on the Christmas list.
thinking. Yeah.
It sounds like a fun
So
family game.
Carlos, Board Game Bliss, you can pre-order the Seven Wonders Lord of the Rings game.
Okay.
Seven
Board
Wonders
Game
Duel.
Bliss.
It's on Board Game Bliss. And they have some really good deals for US because they're out of Canada. They actually have some good deals on shipping. I was surprised. It's very reasonable.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's it for me, guys. I know it's getting late, so I'm going to keep you guys.
No, much appreciated.
Nice.
Every time you call, we really, truly do appreciate it.
Yeah. Keep
Makes it
the
a call-in show.
Appreciate
conversation lively.
appreciate you guys. It's fun tuning in. I'll watch the beginning later on and see what you guys have to talk about from Dice Tower.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for calling, Chris.
Good night,
Appreciate
Chris.
All right.
See ya.
Good night.
it. Bye. We're not going to get to the board tonight, but let's hit. We got to finish.
Can't
Sunday.
even finish
We gotta
Dice
finish
Tower.
Sunday. We got to finish Sunday.
Sunday's
Cut those
easy.
phone lines off.
We're sticking it out.
Okay, phone line's off.
We're sticking it out.
We're doing it.
Let's turn
30
off
more
the
minutes,
banner.
people.
I got 3
Buckle
games
up.
on Sunday.
Let's wrap up this this week. All right, so we get to Sunday. Sunday was Darwin's Journey because we had this was just sad. We set up a game of Thunder Alley.
Yeah.
So I went to the church service in the morning.
We all planned for a 9:30
We gotta hear
a.m.
about this
game,
again.
and then-
Again, yeah.
and it just did not pan out. That was
Yeah.
really upsetting.
It was.
So as Dan, myself, and Rob are walking out disappointed after we packed up, spent all that time packing up. The whole time I'm watching friend of the show, Greg from Sarasota. Greg has been to the studio before to teach us Great Western Trail. He introduced me to Scythe at Dice Tower like 2018 or something.
Yeah, it was a while back.
And I mean, just got me like hooked on Scythe. So he came to the house, taught us some games. Real good guy. I'm watching him set up Darwin's Journey by himself, and he's got
That players
Green
wanted
flag.
flag. Yeah.
green flag, and I'm like, it's Greg. I'm sure he's already got a group of people. He's there for a good 40 minutes setting up while we're trying to get a game of Thunder Alley going. We tear it all down, and as we're walking past him, we're like, "Hey, Greg, you got room?" He's like, "Yeah."
Well, see, I was the big one that wanted to play, so I really was pushing for it. While we were sitting there, I mentioned 3 or 4 times. I was like, well, but Greg, we were like, what are we going to play? I was like, well, Greg's over there, sitting over there. He's looking for people to play Darwin's Journey. And then you guys were like, oh, okay, well, whatever. And then we chatted another 10 or 15 minutes. Like, well, Greg is still sitting there, and he's still waiting for people to play Darwin's Journey.
So Rob goes over there and asks and confirms his room.
Yeah.
So then Rob looks at Dan and I. Like,
I gave the warning. I'm
"Please."
going to say here, I gave the warning. I said, this is a medium to heavyweight Euro. Are you guys in for it?
If Rob's calling it medium to heavyweight, you know.
Yeah. It was,
Medium to heavyweight, 2 out of 10.
Yep.
TLDR, Dan got lost in not the rules,
he had a hard time.
but in the strategy. I got lost in the strategy. There were turns where I had no idea what to do. Right? Like,
Been
I'm
there,
like,
done that.
it hurts. It
It's
hurts.
You kind of question your intelligence when you have that happen to you, and it's happened to me before in the past. And sometimes it's the way the game was taught. Sometimes it's just something just doesn't click. Like, but if you played it again, you'd be like, aha, now I get it. The light bulb just doesn't go off. But man, that is a crappy feeling when you get a whole round going where you're just like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here. You know?
Yeah.
So
I think we've all been there.
Well, see,
Yeah.
and what sucks is, so like, here's Dan and I, we're struggling to figure this out. It's not to teach. Greg is an
Greg did a
awesome
great
teacher.
teach, yeah.
yeah.
I really believe it's the UI of the game. The way the board is designed, the way the spaces are designed. They really tried to integrate the design more than the function. Like, delineation of spaces was very vague because they wanted it to look like a notebook, right? So we got to keep that notebook look. So this magnifying glass of this shape does things this way. But if it's a square magnifying glass, it does things this way. But if it's a rectangular magnifying glass, it's really the same as a square. That's not a joke. That's real. If it's a rectangular one, it's really the same as a square one. Right? So, like, those are examples of the board. And the board is set up in multiple zones. You've got this map with islands and trails that you move your foot meeple on. You've got these waterways that you're moving your boat that you got to keep up with the beagle on. There's the board itself with all the different scrolls and notebooks and magnifying glasses. So it was hard.
It's beautiful. It was beautiful.
In the chaos, it was beautiful.
Very skeuomorphic.
I liked it. I loved it. I loved it.
It was hard to see the connections of, if I do these things on
Rob's
this
over
part
there
of the board.
not shaking his head.
No, I had
He,
no
he
problem
can
with
talk
that.
trash all he wants over here about,
last
I figured it out, I got it.
Oh, I did. Everything
Right.
made sense to me.
Says the guy who was dead last.
I finished last, but I still understood.
Dead
I had
damn
no
last.
problem telling. I never had to ask, can I go there and do that? I understood how everything
Oh, no,
worked.
you had your brass Birmingham moments. Oh, I can't do that.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Oh, I don't have that.
Because I didn't count because I had to do that to pay 2 coins to do that. But I had no problems with. You're talking about the interface and seeing stuff. I had absolutely no problem. The way the pages were laid out, the way that that it was explained, I had no problem with any of that. Yep.
Rob had it figured out that way, just not the strategy to win.
Yep.
And what's crazier is this: like, Dan gave up halfway through the game, and I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
played a game with Dan and watched him.
That doesn't happen too often.
Yeah,
Dan.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. And he was upset, and he was clear. He's like, guys, I need you to know I'm not upset at you. I'm not upset at the game. I'm upset at me for not being able to figure this out. Like, he was clear about that.
Okay.
And you can see it, right? But at the end of the day, the dude came in second place to
Yeah.
Greg,
Yep.
who was like the owner of the game. So, like, it bothers me in a sense of, you got a guy who says he's got it figured out. You got a guy in the middle who's like, I'm kind of think I've got this. Like, I'm not sure. I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to take $2, right? Like, I take that stupid location that everyone's allowed to go to for $2. You know what I'm saying? That one space
Yeah, I
that
know what you mean.
you never want to go to. I'm doing that multiple times in a game. And then Dan's like, whatever, just put me there. Whatever, just put me there. Because we need to get through this game. I'm done with it. And he ends up outscoring both Rob and I. So I don't know how to feel about that.
Although
Like,
Greg did, because Greg could feel his frustration. Greg helped him through a lot of turns. It was like, well, Dan, if you just go there, then it allows you to do that, and you can get those things, and you can go over there. So Greg was kind of helping him combo because Dan was really frustrated. Greg actually was joking around semi at one point, but he's like, he's not going to hit me, is he? Because
no, but he will cuss at you.
Yeah, Dan was pretty
yeah.
frustrated.
I think
so.
part of it was just the stress of selling 300 games and like that's That's a lot. Like I think it took a lot.
He had told me, and that's why I put the disclaimer out there. He had told me a couple of days before that he was not interested in learning any heavy games.
Why didn't you listen, man?
That's why before we did it, I said this is a medium to heavy Euro game. Are you guys? I was talking mostly to Dan, but I said, are you guys in for that? This is not a light game. And then Dan was actually the hardest to convince. You were pretty much in right away.
I was fine. I
Dan
loved
kind
the
of
theme.
stood there and he thought about it for a second, and then I think we had actually asked him a second time, and he was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. And so I kind of felt that from the beginning that he wasn't all in on it.
And there was also like the disappointment not being able to play the race car game.
Yeah, we
there was
had
probably
that.
a little bit of that. Yeah.
Well, while you guys were doing that, I played multiple times charcuterie,
Oh yeah.
which is a fun.
Did you ever have a turn where you didn't know what to do?
No, it was
No,
fun.
not on that one.
And then we played. We ended the con for us with Wreck Raiders, which is another kids table board game that I really enjoy. I enjoy that one. You played it with you once.
Yeah, did we play it once?
Yeah, we played it once at
Okay.
the brewery.
Oh yes. I remember. Okay, that was the one you're diving down or
Yeah,
whatever.
you're
Yep.
diving down
Got
for
it.
stuff.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was
fun.
it. Mhm.
So I think what we learned, and I'm looking to pick them up, is the kids table board games. You know, you have Creature Comforts in Maple Valley. You have Wreck Raiders, Fossilis, all the capybara games I was talking about. I enjoy playing
Veggie
them as a
Dice or
game.
whatever that one is.
Veggie, Power Veggie, whatever something. I enjoy playing them. They're gamer games, but my kid got them easily. He picked them up. He actually beat us in Creature Comforts one time. One of the times we played it. So I enjoy that. These are gamer games that are enjoyable for me to play as a hardcore gamer. I guess you'd say hardcore gamer,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
But my kid is playing it, no problem, and he can do well. at it.
Gamer family games.
Gamer family games, yeah. So I really, they really, we only played one that I was just like, that's not very. There's one like a power game or something, with Veggie Power or something, or let me see, hold on. Power Plants. Did not like that one, but we played 5 of their games, and one of them was a hit. So it's a pretty good
Sweet.
track record there. Yeah,
Do we push through and get the top 20 updated? Or do we save that for the first 30 minutes of next week?
I'm good with whatever we need.
I don't know. Is it gonna take us another half hour probably?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at.
Save it for next week.
Yeah, 11:45. I got one more game from Dice Tower though.
Rob got another game.
Actually, that was my last game of Sunday. I played 3 games on Sunday. I played Harvest again, which was just a quick one we played again with Wayne. And I played, just to touch on it, it's important, I think, just to throw this out there. So my second game is Skyrise. And you may see Skyrise end up here on the board. So I just want
Off screen.
Just want to balance that. But yeah, the board I'm pointing to that you can't see behind
I'll
me.
have more cameras next week, an actual camera on the board.
My second game, I don't think I talked about this on the show. I think I mentioned it after the show last week when we were kind of just chatting after show. But my second game of Skyrise, even though we talked about how much we loved our first one, was I
You
the one to
mentioned
play
this
it
on
twice?
last week's show.
Oh, did I? Okay, sorry.
I know where you're
mentioned it.
going. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
that's
ahead.
the second game. So I'll just touch on it real quick. The second game was a very different experience. It was a very AP, very slow, very. Somebody in the group started kind of quarterbacking the second half of the game and kind of dictating how people should play their turns and stuff. And
I'm recalling this
Yeah,
now.
it really changed my overall experience with Skyrise. So okay, so if I already talked about it, I won't get into depth.
Oh,
with
yeah, I
it.
wanted to say a story about Darwin's journey with quarterback, and you had brought up how Greg began
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
guiding Dan into some synergies and some combos. And I remember watching Greg wait for Rob to put his piece down, do his thing, and he was done. It was a quick, fast turn.
Yeah.
And then Greg's like, well, had you gone to this location, you would have come down, done this, and got this combo to this, and that would have triggered that. So Rob starts picking up pieces. He goes, oh, no, I said it after you played. I didn't.
Oh no! Well, what he said is, he's like, I didn't mean that that's what you should do, because I actually did the whole thing he said, and then I was like, but that doesn't put me in any better position. He's like, oh no, I didn't mean you should do that. He said, I was just telling you that was another thing you could do, and I was like, well, no, I don't want to do
Amazing.
that. So I took all that back off and then put it back the way that I originally had it, and I was like, okay, why would you say that right after I read that was something I could have done? I assumed he was telling me that's what I could have done because it was a better thing, but he's like, no, I just wanted to make sure you understood all your options. I was
That's
like, oh,
great.
no.
It was a funny moment. It was,
Yeah, it was funny. So
Darwin's journey, okay, in my book, okay.
I liked it quite a bit.
I think I'm going to have to play it again
Yeah.
to give it its props.
I definitely want to play it again.
But spoiler alert, White Castle over Darwin's Journey. There it is. I said it. Next week, we'll come back to you all with wrap this up. One weekend of gaming takes 3 weeks of talking.
to recap.
Oh, we had phone calls that took out. Like we would have got through.
Yeah. Anyway, good
All
stuff.
right. Any final words of wisdom or anything we missed from Mike, Wayne,
I
Rob?
think we're good.
I played
get-
one game of the Isle of Cats over the weekend. That was it.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
Been a while.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, I haven't played that in a long time.
Playing
It was
on it.
good.
I'm gonna game on that in BGA right now. So having fun with that.
Nice.
Played my first Lacerda. Woo! I'll talk about that more on a future show.
Yeah.
I taught these guys White Castle. I got to play some White Castle. I read the rules for Fallout. I'm
Really wanna play it.
ready.
Really wanna play
I'm ready to teach.
The cooperative version.
The cooperative.
Yes,
I'm
cooperative
ready to
version.
teach.
Yes.
So that's another one we can get to the table.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we do got to play that.
Yeah.
I'm watching the series again for the third time.
Oh,
Nice.
I finished it for
third
the first
time.
time, but
I've
For the
just,
third time. And this time
you
I'm watching it
finally,
without the kid. So
I was going to
got,
say, you're not doing it through Stream Angel, are
well,
you?
I'm doing VidAngel still, but
Or
I've
VidAngel or whatever.
removed the settings for the curse words since I'm not watching with the kid.
loosened up a little.
Yeah. So it's getting more salty. It's
Changing your experience a little.
no, it's still good. I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a good show.
It
really is a good show.
It's
Very
good.
I'm doing that. I finished that a couple weeks back. It was good. I liked it. Now I'm doing.
I'm slogging through Acolyte, man. Oh,
Yeah.
The last episode came out,
I'm like
and my
4.
son and I still haven't watched it.
I think we're on episode 4.
I'm on
I
4.
have one more. Yeah.
Stuff. We're getting to circle back to that. We're rewatching Ted Lasso with our kid. He's enjoying it. He wants to cosplay as players or whatever coaches at Dragon Con this year. And I've been watching Monarch, which is the Kurt Russell, and it's the monster universe. And I didn't realize that all the new monster movies are really connected in this like bigger universe. So I went back and I watched Godzilla, then Kong, Godzilla and Kong, all the
-1.
Godzilla, all of them are all connected now in this bigger universe. And Monarch kind of helps bring that all together. It's really kind of cool. It's actually a cool little universe they built out of the monster universe. So I've been enjoying that. I watched all those movies.
I introduced my son to the 1998 Godzilla movie. The one with
Matthew Broderick?
Yes.
It's so bad.
It's just as bad as I remember it.
But the new ones are good. Have you watched the new ones?
Yes, the new ones are good.
they're really
-1 was great.
-1's fantastic.
My
And
son struggled with it at the beginning because it was a little slow,
subtitles and
but
or you watch
it has
subs.
such a deeper story.
Yeah. And if you Monarch's good. You'd like Monarch. It's on Apple TV, but yeah.
Yeah, because we were watching through a lot of the Godzilla stuff, so I was like, let me show you the ones from back in my day, 1998.
Those are,
The good times.
or even the older ones.
When times were great.
70s and 80s, yeah.
I didn't have bills. It was a great time, 1998. And then I watched the movie. I'm like, man, this was bad. Little baby raptors. He's like, why does Godzilla look like a dinosaur? I'm like, 1998.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
All right, folks. It's been another great episode. Thank you all that participated in the chat. All of you that called in, we really appreciate you. Mad shout out to Chad in the chat. Thank you for that compliment of you enjoying our conversation about the games. He says
He wants us to do reviews.
He said y'all should do some reviews. I really like your perspective. Chad Stilson
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
in the chat. So that felt pretty good. Here I think we're just talking nonsense.
Yeah, we used to do more reviews and stuff. We'll get back to it.
We still have
more
beans.
beans.
Yeah.
I got to look at the calendar. One of these days we got to do another bean. One of the weeks of each month I want to dedicate to a bean.
Somebody do
So
one.
maybe we'll do a bean on the White Castle.
Sure.
But before we do that, I got all these rule books. And
Don't do it.
Holy
Don't-
crap,
Don't
man.
do it. Don't
This
do
thing
it.
came with 5 different rule books.
Languages.
Of all different languages, Mike. It's just weight and paper.
Don't do it.
Do you keep these in your box, Mike?
I typically do, yes. It makes it easier for the publisher because it's a single SKU.
Yeah. Okay.
That is true, but at home,
It's a
do you
waste of
retain
paper,
these?
but I'm sorry?
Do you retain them in your box? What do you do with them?
I usually do, yeah. I mean, I'm a OCD about stuff like that. If it fits, I keep it. If it gets a little out of hand, then I stick it in a drawer.
All right,
Don't,
I'm gonna go with that model because I never know when the Portuguese board gamer comes to my house and I need that.
They just hand them the rules.
If you ever
and-
decide to resell the game, you can sell it to people from various
Exactly. There you go, man.
But what's tough is it doesn't tell you on the rule book
countries. What language?
what language is what.
Really?
Well, you know what English is by looking at it, right?
I got the Spanish one and the English one.
You figured
about
those
as far
out?
as I got.
That's what I was figured out.
Probably one in German.
German, French.
Look for the angry one. That's the German.
The rule book that starts yelling at me. All right, let's do a beans on White Castle. We'll do that soon. That'll be the next one.
We got to do the Dice Tower award predictions.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
2 weeks of Gen Con. So we could do that on the server if you want, not on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show. Because we have 3 years of picks now. We got to.
Yeah.
to see where we're at. So
Yeah, have people vote on it.
Thanks again. Good night, everybody. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
and I'm Wayne.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
DJ Kitty in the house.